Here, back once again with 6 and 20 Metropolis, our wonderful campaign here in City of Mist. We have returned after a brief hiatus between seasons for our Season 2 premiere. Woo, cheers,
Woo!
yeah. Woo.
Hey, I'm sorry, I'm mad on Twitter right now.
That's fine, understandable. That's what Twitter is for.
Why are you mad, Luke? Why are you mad on Twitter?
To interrupt and derail everything, because that's what this show does.
No.
They canceled Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Meta refuses to believe it, and I refuse to believe it. It needs to be.
It's all just a publicity stunt. It'll be back.
No.
If Malcolm were here and we all refused to believe it together.
That's true, but he's not. So that's unfortunately just not going to work. Save it for Wednesday. But yeah, we're back. I'm super excited. It's been like 3 weeks since I've last played City of Mist, and I'm very ready to get into it. So let's go ahead and get started by going around to our wonderful cast and seeing how they're all doing and all that wonderful stuff, starting as we usually do with Metamancer.
Hi guys, I'm Metamancer. How's it going? Oh my god, it's been 2 weeks. Like, officially, right? 3 weeks? I don't know. It's been too long. You guys can find me playing Morrigan on this stream. Morrigan is a, well, not anymore so much, but her professional background is that of a therapist and a criminal profiler. So we'll see how things turn out for her. If you haven't caught up on the previous one-shots and or finales, you definitely should do that because there's some really cool character development for her. Other than that, guys, you can find me doing lots of RP both on my channel and many others, and following me on Twitter at the Metamancer is the best place to do it, to be up to date. So yeah, that's it. That's me.
Cool. Let's go, because this overlay is in a different order than before. Let's go to Johnny, or McLoken.
Oh,
rather.
See,
you
can't say.
Yeah, you stop confusing us.
I very clearly said Johnny with a Y.
Oh,
true.
I'm sorry. It must have been my headphones. I didn't pick that up.
In either case, they're both directly above me, so it doesn't matter. I'm still pointing up, or it doesn't matter which one you said.
Do we have a new scene? Oh, we do. Oh, I'm all over the place. Hi, I'm McLoken.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't remember the layout. Okay. God, so much judgment.
There's no judgment at all. We're just here to give you a hard time, just like Trent is here to flirt with us.
Don't
Most of us.
Hail like with a bunch of like ugh. I almost died. Hello, welcome. I'm McLoken. How are you doing today? Let's see how long until I get interrupted again. That was an interruption. Yeah, I'm playing Johnny, and I'm super excited because I want to see what I don't know how long it's been since Johnny played, or I played Johnny in game retrospectively. So I don't know if it's still summer or what's going on. So I'm very curious, and I'm excited to find out. I like long walks on the beach. I like eating a lot.
On the beach?
Yes. Unless I drop it in the sand, and then I'll just keep eating it because I have a super high metabolism because my name is Johnny.
Sand just gives it texture.
And it fuses it into glass.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I become more scrawny.
Wow, this conversation just derailed really quickly.
Uh-huh.
It derailed ages ago. I'm just surprised you're catching up now.
All right.
Sorry, there's lag over here.
Thank you, Loke. And let's go over to Trendane. Tell us who you are and stuff.
Well, as he mentioned, I'm Trendane. Duh. It's even not written on my shirt, but I could not care less. This is the phrase. Couldn't care less. If you say I could care less, then that means that you do care some. So if you are trying to indicate to somebody that you give no fucks, you should say I couldn't care less. I could not care less. I care zero. It is impossible for me to care any less. Sorry, it's just a bit of a pet peeve. That's why. What do you want?
Would you start a podcast where all you do is talk about semantics?
It's not really a company I have any experience with, but semantics, not Symantec. Okay, sorry. No.
I think that makes a yes. I think that you just proved his point further. Anyways, carry on. I'll stop interrupting now. Any second. Yeah, okay.
So we're playing a game today. And no, it's not summer anymore.
Winter coming?
It is coming, but every time
always
that
is.
guy up there tries to say winter is coming, he's like, I'm not making any Game of Thrones references. It's not just, it's 3 words. It's not necessarily Game of Thrones. Winter has been on its way and present and past many times before George Martin did the thing. Let's just go. Let's go.
All right. And I am Speedy. I am playing as your faithful bartender, Giovanni. As you can see by this wonderful backdrop that I have always had and has always looked exactly this good.
What? It looks exactly the same. Why are you calling it out?
I'm just saying it's exactly the same backdrop.
I see that.
Why are you questioning that?
Because you're doing weird shit by calling out something that's no different.
I mean, I always do this. I always point out the fact that my backdrop has not changed week to week.
Is this
I'm
the
in a
first time I've
library.
been on this show? I've never been on this show apparently because I've never heard you do that.
You're certain. I mean, your name plate says Herbert, so I don't even know who you are anymore.
Oh, that's
There you go.
true.
But yeah, super excited to be back into this for season 2. And with that, I'll turn things over to our MC, Johnny. Video
Don't
Store
call me
Cowboy.
Hammer. Don't call me Hammer.
I was going to call you Cutter.
You see. Oh,
Master Cutter.
R.I.P.
Not
MCA.
going. No, not going there. No. All right. Yeah. Okay. So to answer Luke's question real quick before we get started, as Trendane just did, we are in fall now. That will become obvious very quickly. Hi everybody. 3rd show of the week. Blah 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 blah. So let's get started. Previously on 6 and 20 Metropolis, 4 very different citizens of the city find themselves at a charity gala in support of the Walker Foundation. When esteemed CEO Phoebe Dare disappears from the party, these 4 unlikely citizens band together to follow the trail. Through twists and turns, the crew faces distractions The crew faces distractions along the path toward understanding what exactly went down. Actions committed fracture the crew, and they take matters into their own hands. The stakes change, though, and the past begins to haunt them. Committed to facing the consequences, they regroup to face the truth. This isn't a simple case of disappearance. When they discover what's truly on the line, one of them accepts responsibility to make life better, not just for the crew, but for the entire city. And so we're going to fade into fall. It's a cold night. The wind is blowing off the bay. There is a swirling of fog kind of coalescing along the streets. We're in the docks. The city streetlights are dark. They are dim. There's something about them that's just not illuminating the area around. However, what is illuminating the area around are lights, red and blue, flashing. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of chaos going on as there are people moving back and forth in uniform. And as we kind of fade and focus in, we see the face of Morrigan. She's just arrived on scene. She received a call from Catherine Devereaux. She said that there were special circumstances and that her experience on a case with Derek might illuminate the situation. And so as we fade in, Morrigan, you see Catherine Devereaux in front of you, and it's another warehouse.
Morrigan, her heart kind of falls into her stomach a little bit with the just getting to the scene in itself and being another warehouse, reminding herself of what she saw before. She kind of gets out of her car and steps up slowly and looks for Catherine.
She's talking to a forensic investigator. The exchange appears to be in some hushed undertones, even as there was a flurry of activity and there are other officers and they're uniformed, kind of canvassing the place. There appears to be a crowd starting to develop, kind of to observe, and the press is starting to arrive. And so as you find her and you get a moment to kind of observe the situation, the undertone of this crime scene that you've just arrived at is that of incredible tension. There appears to be a lot of emotional responses: anger, fear, frustration. And so when Catherine finally sees you, she kind of looks over and kind of waves you over. And as you step up, she says, thanks for calling. Thanks for arriving.
Sure.
Before we get into this, how's Derek?
No progress right now. I'm having some more doctors look at him, third and fourth opinions and all that.
Okay. You worked with Derek on the Maiden Butcher case.
Yes.
The previous investigation where he disappeared appeared to have ties to that as well.
Yeah.
I'm afraid this one does too.
Yeah. Figured.
Follow me. And she begins to move towards the warehouse building itself and steps in. And it's another cannery. This time, it's not for any type of fish or anything, any type of seafood or sea life. This one appears to be the labeling around you and everything appears to be vegetables, kind of sort of processed food kind of goods, canned. And as you're kind of walking in, you see that this place has not abandoned. Mm-hmm. This is actually an operating facility, and that everything is shut down right now. But you're led through towards a back room that appears to be sort of a cafeteria, a place where employees would take their time. And seated at a table is a woman. And at first, she looks just dead, seated there. But as you get closer, there's a couple things that begin to reveal themselves. The first is there is a line along her neck here. And as you take in the rest of the body, there's one hand that's on the table. And there is a line here, outlined in red. You begin to kind of assess the scene even more, and you realize that there are other lines that are hidden by this woman's clothes. Mm-hmm. She clearly matches the profile of the age group and the look of what the Maiden Butcher would have, targeted. But as you're looking at all of this, your gaze kind of drops down to where her other hand is, and her arm is in her lap. And as you kind of lean in to look, her hand is missing, her left hand.
Okay.
The rest of the room is clean. Catherine kind of gives you a moment to kind of assess the situation and then turns to you and says, what do I do here? I was a uniform when
Arthur Bishop has evolved his technique and ritual. The gratification is still the same to an extent, but without an autopsy, I don't know what else is different. The placement is slightly off, but the profile of the woman matches the victimology, and I don't know. Is there anything else that was found on the scene?
No, but given the previous case where the head was later found at the scene and the head didn't match the prints on the body, we're currently looking to figure that out. To figure out if there's something else. We're assuming that the hand is here somewhere.
It's possible. Is there also freezers here or not on this facility?
Is that important?
It could be.
She steps back for a second, giving you a moment to kind of assess the scene. Do you want to do anything while she's gone?
Yeah, I'll probably roll investigate to figure out if I can do something similar to the other scene, just to assess kind of, you know, approach and purpose. And like, I would also, as creepy as it would probably look to people looking onward, I would actually position my face around the same eye level as the head sitting to see what she sees. So like, kind of like get a perspective, things like that.
Okay. So, what power tags do you think apply here?
Let's pull up the chart. I'm gonna use my authority and connections, maybe.
Okay.
Definitely gonna be applying the psychoanalysis and psychology using my previous criminal profiling for Arthur Bishop, but I'm also gonna invoke the Maiden Butcher weakness tag in this particular case.
Okay.
And
Let's see if it actually
click
updates.
clicking things. All right. I think that's it. Okay. Investigate.
Nice. All right. So it sounded like there were a couple things that you wanted out of this. Do you want to ask the specific questions, or do you want me to answer the questions that you already asked? And then we can talk about whether that's 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's fine. We can go with that.
Okay. So the first things first is you're kind of assessing the scene, looking for motive and intention and that kind of a thing. It's clear to you that there is a message being conveyed here, and that you are being the target of this message, because when you kind of assess the situation and you see where the other hand is placed on the counter, under it is a news article that is printed out from an online magazine profiling you after your involvement in the Maiden Butcher case and him successfully going to prison.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the placement of the fingers, the index finger is clearly pointing at your name.
Okay.
However, what is also interesting is that when you look at where the line is on the body, where the hand is actually cut from the wrist and reattached, it appears to be highlighting a line, or right over a line, referencing Derek Roth and his close working relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
And seems to indicate that in the profile, as a casual observation, that there was some familiarity between the two of you.
Okay.
And so that, on top of the fact that the body is very much like the previous body, cut at single cuts at the joints, indicates that the MO is still mostly the same at this point. However, the body part missing is, the first of those new wrinkles.
Right.
And so when you sit down and you get down and you try to look at her perspective of what she's looking at, you see she's looking through a window out into the cannery proper.
Mm-hmm.
But you see a faint outline of something kind of almost grease, like sort of like a grease kind of a thing on the actual window itself. But the grease element is very clear. And so when you kind of walk over and you use your breath to try to create some mist on it, or something it reveals a code that looks very similar to the tattoo that was printed on Derek, or tattooed on Derek.
Okay.
So I think that's 2 questions.
Okay.
If you've got a third that you'd like, let me know.
Okay.
Or you can hold on to it. Something that people have been asking for this week so far, and I actually kind of like the idea, is if you don't have another question ready, you can hold on to it for as long as the scene is going on.
Okay.
So it's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I'll do that if you want to swing to somebody else.
We're almost done here.
Oh, okay.
We're almost done here, and you're depending upon how you react to what's next, that will determine where this thing goes, kind of thing. But so as you're kind of doing that, Catherine comes back in, and she says, "Yeah, there actually is a freezer downstairs.
Hand inside.
We hadn't. It's locked, so we're trying to get the keys right now, but."
It's probably in there.
Why are you so sure?
Because I know Bishop too well. This is not a random him starting to kill again. He's on a vendetta against me and Derek.
Okay. Well, let's go check that out. And so we're going to cut to Johnny, who is frequenting different establishments, sometimes late at night, to fight.
Is it nighttime right now?
It is.
Oh.
In this particular establishment, it's in a basement under a bar. And it is close quarters and it is intimate. And Johnny is having to be careful. But he is doing exactly what he is enjoying doing. Winning.
It's true. I get paid.
So, Johnny, one of the reasons that you're here is because the calls have been coming less and less from Calvin. And that's frustrating you.
That would frustrate me. I probably here's something. How long has it been since I've seen that dude on the roof?
A month.
Okay, I would have asked consistently about that.
Or sorry, the dude on the. You mean the first time that you went to a fight fighting ring?
No.
The one shot from us. I think it's only been a couple days, right?
No, that would have been a month.
It's a month ago. Okay,
it would have been a month ago because that was the middle of the summer, and this is the beginning of fall.
Okay. I'm also frustrated because school is starting. I am very frustrated about that, and I don't want to go back there. And so I'm living up being king currently. King of this whatever. I don't know what nickname. He doesn't pay attention to what they call him down here. He doesn't really talk to anyone, but I think he would have been bugging Cal, and I think that's probably why Cal would have like cut him out slowly, is that because he was probably prodding about that guy, because who the fuck is that guy? What the gray suit men are asking about the gray suit men consistently, being Johnny the boy detective, and then he called less and less, so we don't know where Cal is.
So you would be asking about Archangel then, the guy that you saw on the video itself. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every time you would engage Calvin about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cal would not be responding.
Yeah, and that's probably why Cal is not talking to him or responding to him. And he knows that his grove is dying or it's not being taken care of. It's overgrown, like it normally, or it wasn't really taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, and so Johnny would be very frustrated in his fights. And I don't know if they have anyone that really challenges him per se. But yeah, that's what Johnny would be doing. And like as soon as the fights were done, I don't know, when does school start?
In a couple of days.
Yeah. So okay, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is that it seems like the motivation for Johnny in going to these rings, these fighting rings, is to find somebody who is a challenge. And the only person that you've actually met that might even be slightly a challenge happens to be the same person that you tend to go with on occasion. And that would be Charlie.
Okay. She's not here this time, though.
But you've never fought her.
Hmm. And like the thing about Charlie is that she's more of an evasive fighter. I don't know if she's super strong. So he probably doesn't want to like fight her because he knows if like he hit her, he'd probably knock her out. So I that's what he assumes. This is what I don't know what would actually happen. It's a question. I don't even think he might be able to hit her because he's actually really good at fighting too.
Mm-hmm.
And that would, and she's not here this time. And I imagine they probably like stagger out their visits because when they're both there, there's like no one to fight. And then because everyone is like super intimidated. Yeah, so and this time it's the same thing. There's no, are there people stepping up to the plate like thinking they can beat me up?
Oh yeah. And I assume that given Johnny's, his ability to succeed, that he sometimes gives them the first punch just to see if there's something worth a challenge. But you win every time.
I mean, that sounds like either that or he would do the fucking like Mad Max thing where he just walks out there, fucking kills the shit out of him. Not kills, but just like fucking like walks out there, doesn't even get the guy to like start the match. He just punches him and then goes back and sits down.
Okay. So the night wears on and the frustration continues because there's not a challenge. And because it's not satisfying. Hitting somebody is not satisfying anymore. The money is there. The thrill is there of being incredibly physical. But the reality is that it's not satisfying at all. And it's starting to wear on you. And with the stress and frustration of Cal not calling you, and the weirdness of the situation and your investigation to try to figure out what's going on with the men in gray and this man, this Mr. Archangel, you are in the impending start of school. Johnny is just unable to contain himself in rage. Right? It's getting bad. So by the time the night ends and you're stepping out, it's about 2:00 in the morning. And it's raining and there's lightning in the sky. And it's dark and stormy. But Johnny just doesn't even feel it. He's lost in his frustration.
Yeah. And I would... Wow, did Malcolm ever text him?
No, Malcolm did not.
He would be kind of frustrated about that as well. Because he still... Has he taken the phone in the tunnel?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you should text Malcolm and find out what he says.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine he has been texting him.
I'm sure that there are exchanges, but there's nothing but of import, and that part of that is because Malcolm is incredibly bored right now.
He's incredibly bored too.
Yes.
It sounds like there needs to be an adventure. So it's 2 a.m. On what day? I imagine if it's school's in a couple days, it's a Thursday or Friday.
It's right before the weekend, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So are we saying Friday?
Yes.
He doesn't want to go back to Stormies because a lot of people are gonna. Oh no, no one's gonna be at Stormies right now. He would just honestly, he would Okay, this is what I'm gonna actually do a montage because John, I don't know what to do with Johnny right now other than a montage because there's no one he needs to interact with. There's no one he can fight.
Okay, so depending upon how you do the montage, there's actually something that's supposed to happen here that I'm building towards. I'm very curious now that you want to do a montage because I think it's going to fit right into it. So what do you want to montage?
Why have I never felt pain? I want to focus on my mythos. I want to pay attention to that. And so and Johnny and Johnny is going around and focusing on all this. And I wanted to level up something in it, but I don't have the book on me, so I don't. What is the book? Do you have the book, Meta? Oh, you have the book. Oh, you used it today.
She doesn't live anywhere near you. What difference does it make?
Can you mail it to me, please? I would Johnny would like go around and he would like try to find things that like he would like climb up a tall building and then fall off and just lay in the ground like dented, like cartoon dented into the ground and just stare up at the sky and wonder why he never felt pain, or not, not the fact that the closest thing he ever felt was like when he was hungry, and that wasn't so much pain as it was a drive, and he realizes that now, comparatively to he always needs to be eating. He doesn't know what happens if he doesn't eat for a long period of time. Like his stomach's like grumbling right now, but it's not to the point where it's like something hit him and he's felt that pain, or he's like something's actually was able to hurt him in some sort of capacity. And then he would just kind of and this probably goes on for about 20 minutes. And then just doing random shit like running into like a building, not through the wall, but just into the wall, and letting the wall naturally stop him as he jumps through the air, and doing and then kind of running into a car or climbing up a lamppost and punching inside the lamppost and seeing if electricity hurts him. And doing a bunch of other crazy shit. And after about 20 minutes, he just kind of gets disheveled and kind of starts making his way home.
Can I take over the end of that and it not just being him go home? Okay.
Yeah, no, you can totally cut it. That's what he's intending to do. If something happens in between, then
okay. So you're definitely going to take you're going to get your clue or your clue or juice, right? But you're going to get to ask me a question after this happens.
Okay.
Right. So you're going to be able to take advantage of that. But so as Johnny is doing this, right, in his frustration, he's going off and he's in the old quarter right now. So the buildings aren't as tall, but he is able to do most of the other things that you talked about, right? Mm-hmm. And at one point he's, running and, jumping, and kind of, moving through the air and, between building and building and kind of just making his way through and, doing these different activities. And the storm around him, the storm almost intensifies as this is all happening, right? There's more lightning, there's more rain. The rain is just making the ground incredibly slick. It's kind of, getting into his eyes and he's having trouble seeing, and the wind is starting to pick up. And there's this huge crack of lightning as it just kind of goes across the sky, and it just kind of illuminates everything. And Johnny at that moment is looking at the bay. And as he's looking at the bay, for the first time, he sees something that he has never seen before. And he has lived in this city his entire life. He sees the vague outline of an island in the distance. And there are clouds there's like a fog kind of swirling around it, but with the way that the lightning has kind of illuminated the entire sky, for the first time he is seeing this place. And so it causes him to stop. And Johnny is on the top of one of the tallest buildings in the old quarter. And this, this swirling is, is happening, the fog and the rain and everything's kind of happening. And the storm is just starting to intensify around him. And again, there's another flash of lightning across the sky. And he sees that island again, and he sees it much more clearly. He's looked at it this way before. That island was never there before, but it only looks like it's as if it's a short, distance out into the bay, maybe 10 or 15 miles. And this is just kind of causing Johnny to get, frustrated. And so you start to move forward, right? You start to kind of head towards the edge of the bay. And at that moment, you're struck by lightning. And for the first time, you do feel a little bit of burning, a little bit of pain. Not much, but enough to make you feel.
Like in my hand, or like all over?
All over. Like it strikes you, and you just you become, your clothes are a little bit singed, right? One of your favorite T-shirts, you're gonna have to go and replace it because it's a little bit singed, and your clothes are kind of smoking a little bit. And even in the rain, you're just kind of go ahead.
Well, he was fighting, so he wouldn't wear his favorite clothes fighting.
Oh, okay. I would have thought you would have put it on afterwards, but okay, all right, all good. And so you're kind of momentarily dazed by all of this, right? And so, again, this is all, you're kind of taken aback, and you're feeling this, and you're reveling in this feeling for just a second. And again, another strike of light, or another flash of lightning across the sky. And it draws your attention out to the island again. And this time, in addition to the island, you see a pair of tentacles just kind of swirling in front of it. And then the lightning begins to cease, and the rain just continues in the wind, but the sky is never illuminated again, and you can't see out into the bay.
I don't know if I really saw that. So it was like a flash of lightning, and then there was an island, and then there's another flash, and then there's something in the background.
There's something in the foreground.
In the foreground, okay. He's just and the lightning struck him, and he's just like, Is my phone fried?
Yes.
I just crush it, destroy the sim chip, throw it. Actually, no, he wouldn't crush it because he can turn it in. He'd be like, I don't know, I charged my phone, blah, blah. So he would, he
with what? A Van de Graaff generator?
Yes. So he would then something in the back of his head is just on edge, and now he's even more on edge, and then he kind of felt that, and now he's really kind of irritated, and he doesn't know what that means per se. Something I imagine the thing that's inside of him is screaming bloody murder currently at this time, but Johnny doesn't. That's where this disconnect is happening, because Johnny doesn't realize it. That's why he feels immensely irritated looking at that, and so he's just on top of this building. He would. Is there a giant flagpole on the top, or a lightning rod? So what he would do then, he would go and he would bend it where he could catapult himself towards that island where he saw it.
You could try.
Okay. I'm going to roll electronics repair because I want to be very delicate.
Okay.
Impressive and inhuman strength. I'm seeing if anything. Yeah, I'm gonna roll that.
Okay, so there is a story tag that's going to be against you.
Okay.
And that is, we're going to call it Mysterious Island.
Okay, how much is that?
Just one.
And I guess this is take a risk. I think this is very much take a risk.
Okay. Sure. I'm happy to go with what your instincts are on this particular case.
Yeah, because like he doesn't know if it's the fuck out there or what he saw. He's just being bold as fuck, and I don't know why he's being bold as fuck. 8. Things get messy. I skip like a stone on the water.
So describe to me the actual act. Narrate the actual act of you launching yourself. I want to hear that as so that I can give you the appropriate, hard bargain or ugly choice.
So Johnny would scale up and like kind of like slowly bring down the antenna or whatever the case may be, something that was like very much like it was a flexible metal. And so, like, such as like a thin piece of metal on the top, and as he like bends it down, he would scale down the building a little bit as he making it a little bit more, trying it just a little bit, hearing the creaks and then stopping, knowing that like this is probably the tension point that if he goes beyond this, he's just going to end up breaking it, and he's like locking his foot. And he's positioning himself perfectly to the end of the antenna, and holding it, and then just releasing his foot and going with it, and then letting go when he gets to the like apex of the swing, and then shooting off into that direction.
So as you do that, it makes an incredible sound that can even be heard. But it's like a thwong kind of a thing, and you go flying. But as you begin to go flying, and you having a little bit of experience having flown before, right, as a crow, so there's a bit of that you understand and enjoy the sensation. But at that moment that you begin to really kind of gain some altitude, you realize that you're never going to make it.
Oh, shit.
And so here's the hard bargain.
Okay.
You can launch yourself to get closer than you would think, but you can launch yourself to get close. But then you're going to have to face danger and deal with whatever's out there. Or this is your ugly choice. Something grabs you and prevents you from actually making it any farther. But you can see more of the island.
See more, what was the last part?
Of the island.
Okay. I'm going to go with something grabs me. I like that narratively in my head. I think that's cooler where he's launching himself and then something either like from above like hits him or something up like from the ground grabs him as he's launching himself.
So you're flying through the air, right? You're going very far, but you realize you're not going to make it, and you're starting to panic a little bit, and you're like, as because you're really traveling fast, but you're also going a long distance. So this journey, this trip is lasting a long time. But as you begin to make your descent, you hear flapping in the background. Huge, just overwhelmingly loud sounds of just like, something cupping the air and kind of causing it to whoosh, making it this gigantic sort of crazy sound. And the next thing you know, just as you're about to hit the water, you're grabbed. And as you're kind of assessing the situation and you look, you're in the talons of a bird. And as you kind of twist around and take a look, it's a gigantic crow.
You again!
And the wings continue to flap and kind of bring you art around and bring you back towards land. And as this is happening, you notice that there is something incredibly interesting about this island. There is, because you're able to get up high enough. The features of this island are very, very distinct. There is a beach that sort of looks like it goes around. You can't see the far side of the island.
Mhm.
However, you do see a large amount of foliage at the edge.
Okay.
But it just kind of diminishes, like it reduces, and there is something sort of like a field at the center. And for just a second, you see a flash or a glow at the center of it. And then the wing just kind of covers it. But also, just outside of the island proper itself, you see something moving in the water under, almost as if it's swimming around the island.
Question: is it the
Answer.
same island that Morgan described to me?
I was about to ask that.
Yes.
Okay, so I have an idea what I'm gonna do. But now, what this is Raven Crow drop me off, or it just like drops me on the ground like nice.
Oh no, it kind of brings this kind of brings you back down
Mhm.
and deposits you on the same roof from which you launched. Pecks at you for a second, almost like nudgingly, kind of nuzzling you, letting you know that it's okay. And then with a giant leaps into the air, and you hear the whooshing and flapping of these wings.
Goodbye, Crodian. I don't know what to call him. Okay. I can't call him Apollo. I'm in the blue collar district. I am gonna make my way to, and I'm gonna look for a taxi the old-fashioned way. Not an Apollo, but the taxi cabs. The taxi cabs aren't used too often, I don't think, anymore because of Apollo. Hold on, I'm trying to find a good name for it.
For a taxi cab?
I love that you're trying to find a name for the taxi cab company. This is fucking hilarious.
The competing taxi cab company. Hold on.
Can't it just be called Taxi?
No.
Why?
Um.
They're not as clever as the people that made Apollo.
No, that's why they're having issues currently.
Are they trying to rebrand? Are they marketing?
So obviously it's not checkers anymore, because it's more advanced than checkers, but not advanced enough to compete with Apollo.
Chess?
Maybe.
Oh no.
Dominoes?
It'd be Luna Taxi Company.
Why?
Because
Why Luna?
Luna is a Roman charioteers would often seek the favor of this goddess, who was their dedicated protectress. Also, it is the opposite of the sun.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking up gods of bees because taxi cabs are black and yellow, but I like your idea better.
I mean, St. Christopher's Taxi Cab Company does sound good too. Don't shake your head. I see you doing that, Meta.
I was shaking my eyes.
She was thinking that St. Christopher's totally metal. Sorry, that's
Totally
really
metal.
Thin. I'm sorry.
What do you guys think? Luna? Everyone agree with Luna? Luna Taxi Cab Company?
Yep.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I actually like the idea behind that. So yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I get a Luna taxi cab, and I have cash on me. So I'm like, go to this address, and then I tell them I don't know exactly what that address is, but where Morrigan stays.
My office.
Yeah.
I don't leave my office very often.
Well, that's your house now,
Yes.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
It's downtown.
It's downtown, and you would, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we'll fade on Johnny heading towards Morrigan's office. And we'll fade into Geo actually getting a good night's sleep. But not really. He's dreaming. He's dreaming of the moment he had to say goodbye. There's a hospital bed. Tell us what she looks like, Joe.
Naomi was 23 years old. Skin tan, hair dark brownish black. Wide, round, brown eyes that could pierce your soul, warm your heart. Her hair was usually cut short in a pixie cut, but having been in the hospital for long enough, hadn't really gotten much attention and had grown a bit longer and messier. She looks, despite the more natural tanness of her skin, she looks pale, she looks gaunt, and distraught, like the last of her hope has left. But there's something else there too. There's something else behind her eyes that is no longer hers.
What does that look like to Gio in her eyes? Not necessarily what he actually like sees, but what feeling does that convey to him when he sees that in her eyes?
Tremors. The shaking of the earth and fire from within, this just overwhelming feeling of destruction and pain and absolute death. Never ending.
And so as you're stuck here in this dream, it's not quite a dream and it's not quite a nightmare. And you're in this moment that you've been many times before, many nights before. She reaches out her hand to you. And on some level, you see that acceptance has gone to its limit as well. And that she's reaching out to say goodbye. And as she does that, the ground begins to shake. And you look around and you see that there's a lamp in the hospital room. It's beginning to sway a little bit. And the curtains are really beginning to kind of shimmy. And as this is happening, you feel her hand sort of gripping onto you a little tighter. And the shaking continues. And if we were to cut as, from an angle where we could see the both of you and the shaking, the camera would be shaking violently as the room is just beginning to kind of fall apart. Things are starting to fall left and right. And you feel the grip of Naomi just holding on to you very tight. And then the shaking stops. And you're able to breathe a sigh of relief. And you nothing fell on the two of you. You're safe. But when you look over to Naomi, because her hand is still sort of holding on to you, but slowly beginning to lose its grip, you watch on her face as it just becomes a little bit more relaxed. And as her grip loosens completely on you, you just feel it sort of resting there. And you wake up. And so when you look around, You're kind of gasping and looking around. The lamp next to your bed, it's knocked over. Some things that were on your dresser are also on the ground. And in the distance, you hear some sirens.
Naomi? I get out of bed. I stand up. I literally just run around the apartment looking for her as if she would be there. And then I pull out my phone and I try to call Cal.
Call doesn't go through, it goes to voicemail. This has been happening a lot lately. Cal has, since taking on responsibilities at the Walker Foundation, has been harder and harder to reach. At first, the conversations were short, but he always took your call. But the longer and longer he's been involved, the more difficult he's been to reach. Even showing up to the Walker Foundation, Cal is not always available to say hello, even to be able to come down to reception.
Yeah. I leave a very desperate message. It's just, Cal, I don't know where you've been. I know you've got a lot of shit going on, but it's about the earthquake that just happened. Call me. And I'd hang up.
More sirens are you can be heard in the distance. And the lights outside appear to be flickering as the power kind of fluctuates with a couple of brownouts and then comes back really strong again. You hear distant thunder and lightning, and there is the smell of rain on the air.
What time is it?
It's about 2 a.m.
I wouldn't even know where to start. I go into my fridge, I pull out a box of wine, I mix it with orange juice, just a little bit of orange juice, and I drink as much of it as I can and try to fall back asleep again.
Okay. Do you want to do a montage of some kind that leads into the dream, or are you just good with letting that roll into the scene?
There's one more thing that I would probably do in the morning, which I would consider to be a montage probably, which is paying attention to my logos of loved and lost.
Okay, so we'll get to that. There's this night is going on for all of the characters kind of at the same time, so we'll get to that. As you begin to fall back asleep, the dream starts over. And as always, the dream starts on the day that you met Naomi. And so we're going to fade to Herbert. Walking down the street in the dark of the old quarter, there is a good amount of rain coming down, but the smell in the air is that it's stronger. It's the storm is going to intensify. You see in the distance lightning sort of flashing. And as you're kind of just wandering the streets of the old quarter, shrouded as you are, enjoying the freedom of being outside but being shrouded, you move towards sort of the edge of the bay where there are some wharfs and some boardwalks where you would be able to get exposed to the ocean air and be able to kind of be in an open space without fear of being exposed. And the lightning begins to kind of flash and illuminates the entire sky. Right? And it's a marvel. You're taking in this sort of marvel of the show. And then you see a lightning strike very close to you on top of a building. And it's the glare and the blur and everything. But as that happens, the earth begins to shake as there is an earthquake. And it's intense, but it's not overwhelming. It's not something that knocks you off your feet. You're able to grab onto a pole and just kind of hold on to it as it's kind of shaking. Lasts only for a couple of seconds. And as you look around and kind of take it in, you see that where that lightning strike happened, there appears to be a figure on top of that building, singed. And you're blown away at the what this person is doing. And then you see them kind of pulling on something. And for just a second, you thought that they almost launched themselves across the bay. But just as that movement began to happen, there's a car crash right behind you. And you see some headlights wrapped around a pole. And the light is glaring at you and focused on you and reveals you in the illumination of the headlights. Why don't you go ahead and describe yourself to us?
So, an almost Columbo-esque rumpled raincoat.
I love Columbo.
Yes, he's so cool.
I just got one question for you.
Just one more thing.
So I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's got some kind of a waterproof jacket on underneath it so that he can pull the hood up, over his, but it mostly just the overall look is very much like the angels from Dogma, the ones that just with the jacket with the hoodie underneath it, so the hood is on top of the thing. But it's not a nice coat. It's a rumpled old coat with like a waxed canvas hood that he pulls up over it. But underneath that he's got sunglasses on, even though it's dark, and there are what at a distance probably look like bandages that are wrapped around every portion of his exposed skin. And if he stands in one place for an extended period, around, especially like in the rain, a expanding zone of what looks like almost like dirt is washing off of him. Just starts to expand outwards, and it's like everywhere he goes, he leaves these dusty footprints. But beyond that, it's very difficult to see any part of his skin, because everything is contained either under gloves or folds of bandages or something. But when the light hits him, even through the sunglasses, and he just kind of does that, his teeth are perfect, absolutely perfect.
So when he leaves these trails of this dust, this dirt, how does the rain affect that, or does it?
It does. It just basically, it's like if you've been playing around, like digging in the garden, and you go over to, or you're like you're making mud pies or something, and you go and you just kind of very slowly move your hand through water. It just leaves these swirling trails of dust as the mud washes off of your hands, and then it'll eventually just settle out, and it'll just be dirt on the bottom of the pond or puddle.
And so you begin to hear the sirens as this vehicle kind of this vehicle has kind of wrapped itself around, and you begin to move away from that accident scene, continuing to walk. And as you're doing that, you hear some weird sort of thumping. And then that thumping sounds like air getting cupped and pushed away as if flapping. And when you hear it, for just a second, you look up and you see something soar in kind of land on a building, but it's a dark shape. And then that stops for a second, and then it begins to start again. And there's a little light on the top of that building, some sort of, floodlight or whatever. And you see the shadow of the same person that just launched themselves up there again.
And just kind of do a double take every now and again, and then look back towards the accident and keep moving on.
Okay. So where does Herbert end his walks?
There's a small, in the old quarter, not too far from his house. There is a community park that very, very tiny. It's, the size of a plot of land that a house would be on. It's just very small. There are like maybe 3 or 4 benches. There's a central little fountain that has in spring frogs sometimes get into, and that's fun to look at. It's all maintained by the local neighborhood and whatnot, and it's a very comfortable, quiet place to go. There's some very broad-leafed plants that when the rain hits them, it's a very soothing sort of sound, and the lights are kind of that dim amber color that isn't jarring, and no matter who walks through there, it makes everybody look kind of the same. Like everybody's sort of not wearing their Sunday best. Everybody has a slightly average look to them, and even if he walks through, with his coat on, he just looks like everybody else. And then he spends a few minutes there, kind of playing with the water and leaving these swirls of dust in the water, and then pulls his hand out and goes home.
Okay. And so we're going to fade on that and go back to Morrigan. As you're on your way down towards the freezer, the entire building shook. There was an earthquake. And so you all sought shelter just in the protection from the machines and everything else.
Right.
It was only a couple of seconds. It wasn't an incredibly intense earthquake, but it caused enough of a shake or a stir to rattle everybody's nerves.
Okay.
And Catherine kind of picks herself up and brushes herself off, and never had earthquakes in the city before. That's unusual.
Yeah. No kidding. It's weird. Hopefully nobody's hurt.
We'll get reports pretty soon to find out what the emergency services are doing. Okay, so and she takes you down a flight of stairs, and you see that 2 uniformed officers are working with what appears to be a facilities manager with a door and opening it. The lock has clearly not been tampered with based on just a casual observation.
Mm-hmm.
But there appears to be footprints in dust outlines off to the side that you catch for anybody else, because you know that taking in the entire scene that you're walking into, and so there are footprints there.
Yeah, I kind of put my hand up and be like, stop. Did anybody walk over there?
Well, we got people walking back and forth, Catherine says. The facilities manager says nobody comes down here. We don't use these freezers all that often. It's rare that we actually need to store raw material, raw food for more than a day or two. So, no.
Are they like distinct footprints, or is it more like somebody just kind of like skirted around the area?
They are distinct boot prints. They're very distinct boot prints.
Okay. They're not like the booties from before?
No, these are distinct boot prints. And in fact, there's a notch in the right boot print at a very specific spot towards the toe.
Just on one of the feet?
Just on one of the feet.
Can I tell what the notch is?
It looks like it's a blemish in the boot.
Okay.
Sole itself. The kind of the tread.
Okay. Is it obvious, like, the size comparison wise, if it would be like a male or a female boot?
Obviously a male boot.
I kind of I look over at Catherine and I say, you need to have very careful processing of this section here.
Should we hold off looking in the freezer?
I mean, the guys are already over there, so let them stay over there. Get the door open and don't let anybody else in. Just get the door open carefully.
Facilities manager kind of looks at you for a second, looks towards Catherine for an acknowledgement, opens up the door, and then steps back in a way that prevents not heading in that direction. The door swings open, reveals what appears to be a 2-chamber freezer. There's one in the foreground which appears to have a sort of a table, and there's a number of packaged items in boxes, kind of a thing. And then there's another room in the back, and it appears to be illuminated a little bit differently.
Okay.
Like the color in the first room appears to be just like a white.
Mm-hmm.
In the second room, it's like a yellow.
Okay.
It's got a yellow tint to it.
Catherine, do you want to go first? Police whole thing. I'll go after you.
Okay. And she pulls out a flashlight and pulls out essentially like an implement for kind of poking evidence, not using a pen, but actually using something that would actually have like some articulation or some control that would give her. And she moves into the room. As you do, you enter, the cold hits you overwhelmingly. It's colder in here than you would expect in a freezer. It takes your breath away.
Okay.
And as you step farther and farther in, the first room looks normal. There's nothing odd about it, right? There's nothing from casual observation and just kind of looking at things.
Mm-hmm.
But as you enter the second room, you can see that the illumination of the light, the yellow light, outlines something on the floor. And when you take a closer look, you realize that it's almost like an indicator or a trail, or something that you're marked on the floor for you to follow. And as you both follow this in, it crawls up one side of the wall, actually onto a couple of boxes, and an arrow sort of pointing to one box that's on the top shelf.
Say it.
Okay.
Say it. Say it. No? Okay.
Say it, Johnny.
Nothing to say.
Oh, come on. Okay, anyways, go on. She kind of looks at it. Is this normal? Is this expected?
Nothing of what he's recently done is expected necessarily, but this is definitely a taunt of some kind. Do you want me to open it? I'll get some gloves on.
And she hands you over a pair of gloves, as she's already wearing some.
Mm-hmm.
And she reaches out. And she says, hold on a second. And she grabs her phone, starts taking pictures of the placement of it.
Yeah.
What's around the box?
It's close
Other
enough.
boxes.
What's in those boxes?
Well, what I'm gonna do is when she gives me the clear to like move forward towards it, I'm gonna kind of like make sure it's not like rigged. Now I say that because even though she's suspicious around boxes, we've already been through this before. Okay, boxes are bad. Okay.
You were super excited to open that last box, all right?
True. That's
You
fair.
were not suspicious at all. You
No,
were
I
like,
was
it's a
super
great box.
Excited to steal the box, and I did it in such a manner that it wouldn't kill me. So, just saying. If we all recall that fun little tidbit. I can't do that in front of Catherine, though. So,
Not and leave her alive. But anyway, sorry. Please continue.
so I kind of look around. I'm gonna be using my heightened senses to really take a look, not just a brief glance. So I don't know if you want me to change the game or anything like that, or take a risk. Or something.
You can change the game. Well, so to me that sounds like if you're looking around while she's kind of doing this initial sort of like taking pictures with the camera,
Yeah.
or her phone. That sounds to me almost like an investigation of like you're taking in the additional part of the room. If you want to change the game, I'm more than happy to have you roll that, and I'm very curious what you'll add to the scene in that particular case.
I mean, there's a few options here. By the way, how fresh was the body that was upstairs? Did she look like recently deceased, or was that something that I couldn't tell?
It looks like exactly the same MO from the last murder, where the body was flash frozen.
Shit. Okay. No, fuck it. No, I'm just gonna go and get the box.
Okay. All right. So she finishes taking the pictures, brings the box down, and places it in front of you. She says she hands you the implement if you want it, the articulated implement to do with things. And she says, "I'm going to take video. Go ahead."
Okay, I do. I open the box.
So as you're kind of feeling for it, looking for, if there's anything that might be, not a trap, but just, might have been rigged in some way. No, it's just a normal cardboard box, conditioned to survive in the freezer kind of a
Right.
situation. And as you open it up, there's a bunch of packing material inside. And as you slowly begin to kind of pull this packing material and you lay it out on the table in front of you, you see fingers kind of creeping out of the packing material, and there's a wadded up piece of paper at the center of the palm, as it appears to be gripping like this, and the paper's right here.
Okay, I read what's on the paper.
Well, as you begin to unfold it, you realize that it's not writing, but it's a picture. It's a printed out picture. And it is a moment that you didn't know had been captured. And it was a private moment between you and Derek.
Oh, snap. Well, it's evidence now, so that's great.
It's on the public record. What kind of private moment? Just for the record.
Not something, of that level of intimate nature. It's more of something like being caught out holding hands and maybe kissing kind of a thing, being intimate.
So this is a picture from a while ago.
Oh yes.
Okay.
It's a picture from when they had an actual relationship of some kind.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else in the box?
Just the hand and the paper.
Are they in that picture literally holding hands?
Yes.
he's a sick bastard. I'll tell you that much.
Well, so you heard you're holding it, and she's looking at it, going, what's on the paper? Because you're looking at it, and you're kind of.
I just place it down in front of her, and if it wasn't obvious before, it should be now. That me and Derek had a intimate relationship at one point in time, long since past.
The camera, she kind of lowers it a little bit, and she looks at you, looks down at it, but you see that her phone, she's losing perspective the way she's holding it. She's just kind of, she shakes herself, touches the record button, puts it down on the counter, looks down at the picture, and says, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, me too.
This is personal.
Yep. Told you it was a vendetta. It's not going to stop. It's probably going to get worse. So, one thing I can tell you is that Bishop will not go back quietly. He's going to fight it out.
She's looking at the piece of paper again. And then she looks at you. And she sees that in the picture, in the image, besides the fact that you're holding hands, you look really happy.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of looks up at you and says, "Do you want to hide this?"
No. I don't think we should.
And she licks her lips, and she shivers a little bit, but you don't feel the cold given the circumstances. She licks her lips and she says, "This won't be just the public record. If it gets out, you're going to be hounded by the press."
I know. I can handle the press.
And in a weird, strange sort of intimate gesture from her, she steps up around, kind of reaches out, squeezes your shoulder slightly and says, I'm here to help."
We just need to get him.
Okay. She goes, walks back around, grabs her phone, calls the uniformed officers in, and posts them at this spot, and escorts you sort of out of the locker. And so we're going to cut to Johnny arriving at Morrigan's building. There are, as you're traveling through the streets, you see emergency vehicles kind of just traveling all over the place. You're not quite sure what's going on until you engage the cab driver and find out that just before he picked you up, he was surprised that you didn't feel the actual earthquake that happened. It only lasted for a couple of seconds.
I could have been jumping really high or something. I don't know. Or maybe it didn't affect where we were.
Reports on the radio are all over the city. All over the city felt it.
What was the seismograph? What was the Richter scale?
Haven't gotten a report yet, and apparently there was a calibration problem with the machine. They're calling for details, for a secondary machine that may have recorded it, but
Man, it wasn't that big of a deal then.
And as
if
you're
I
passing,
didn't feel it, I mean,
and so the vehicle kind of pulls up in front of Morrigan's building.
I go through, how much is the ride? Whatever. I give him the price of the ride. I give him a nice tip.
$237.
This isn't.
What, it's surge pricing now? What is this?
Only Apollos do surge pricing.
I know.
I give it extra 20 on top of it.
Wow, big tipper.
Yeah, I make a lot of money in these fights. I would, and there's a price for that happening. And I get out and be like, have a good day.
Kind of looks at you strangely, kind of pockets the 20 and
Because it's night.
drives away.
Yeah. And then I would start making my way into Morrigan's place.
When you arrive, Morgan's not going to be there.
Well, I know that.
John.
So, since the incident that happened the last time and Johnny paid his visit, has Morgan and Johnny had any type of interaction?
Yeah, we've probably kept in touch a little bit more since she kind of opened up about what was happening with Derek and gave him the lowdown on the Malcolm adventure and that whole bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So does that mean that Morgan would give him biometric access?
No.
No.
We're not besties.
This is what Johnny would do. Johnny would go up the elevator to her floor and then knock on her door because he knows that she's going to get a text message and then she's going to like link into the feed. And then if no one answers, he would like look up at the camera with like a burnt out phone and he's like,
oh, I see what he's doing.
yeah, because like his phone's like,
alert.
His phone was fried. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you use the elevator to get off on that floor, I would have gotten the security alert anyway, so.
You would have gotten the security alert, which, and if I remember you describing it correctly, you can unlock access remotely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is Derek inside though?
Yeah.
Derek is inside.
He's got a doctor tending to him. I don't ever leave him alone just in case something happens with his condition, so.
Okay. Yeah. So would the doctor answer the door or she's not allowed to?
No, they wouldn't be unless they got a message from me saying to expect somebody. But if I got the alert, I would see that you were there and I would step out for a second to get to make a call to the doctor and let them know that there was somebody there to see me, to let them in.
Yeah, and at the camera, I'd be like, I don't know if you actually have audio on your cameras. He's presuming you don't, so. And then making his way in when the door opens.
So the door opens. The doctor explains that Morgan is currently away. Doesn't give you any of the details, and of course offers you the use of the front room.
I'm like soaking. I'm like been in the rain and shit.
The doctor actually makes an effort to go get you a towel, brings you back the towel, and then of course goes into the room with Derek and closes the door.
Okay. I start eating her food.
Of course. It's always there for you. That's why.
I would imagine she is stocked up on food.
Yes.
Since Johnny has started to visit more periodically. So there's always like Johnny rations. That's what they're called, Johnny rations. And then he would just eat until she got back.
So we're going to cut to, there was nothing else that you could do at the crime scene, Morgan.
Okay.
After that. So Catherine had another short chat with you. Again, gave you some reassurance that she was there for you on a personal level. And then said that she's calling you as soon as she had IDs on the body and the hand.
Okay. Yep.
So the interesting and distinct thing that didn't get revealed, I don't think we talked about it getting revealed at the end of last season, was that the head of Sydney White did not match the prints on the body.
Yeah, I think we all made the assumption though.
So there was an identifying person's name given for the new body.
Oh,
so.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that off screen, and that way we can add it to your profile, kind of a thing.
Okay.
And so eventually you arrive back home, probably, another half hour to an hour later, and find Johnny consuming.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Johnny.
Art.
What's going on? Late visit?
Let's So, you know that island you saw?
Yep.
I may have seen it
Like, Nick.
tonight. I tried to fly towards it, but a crow stopped me.
That wasn't me. I didn't do that.
Well, I don't think I've never seen you be that big of a crow. It was the same crow who fought the dragon.
Okay. So, what happened exactly? Did you, like, go to the island? What?
I tried, but the crow stopped me. But there's something under the water. Also, I was struck
Was
by
it like
lightning.
a big squid thing like we fought in the dream thing? The vision? Whatever it was. I don't know. I think it was mostly just like a dream.
I saw tentacles.
Okay. That kind of fits. Sort of. Maybe. Was there a pirate ship too? There were pirates.
He didn't see a pirate ship.
I did not see a pirate ship. No, just the island, and there's a light in the center of it, and it's the island, and the foliage, and then the field in the middle, and then the light, and then the thing under the water.
Maybe we should go to the island at some point. Not right now. I got stuff I need to deal with. But
Why?
we should definitely.
Yeah,
go to the
why
island.
are you out?
I got called in on another case. It's related.
How many is that?
Yeah, I've lost count. Let's just put it this way, that Bishop's not going to stop anytime soon until I stop him, and I think that island has something to do with it.
So for reference, this is the only kiss. This is only the second time that the MO or a crime scene has matched
Yeah.
his suggested MO.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want to do?
I don't know. Have you talked to anybody else from back in the summer?
What? Cal doesn't talk to me anymore. I try to bring up that guy we saw on the roof. Whoever that was. But also, yeah, he hasn't really been calling too much anymore. I mean, he doesn't need my help anymore, I guess. And Geo, well, I mean, none of us have been talking to Geo in months.
I don't know. What do you
Well, I
want?
would try texting him, but he doesn't answer, and my phone's fried.
Why is your phone fried?
I got struck by lightning.
What?
I said that like 5 minutes ago.
Sorry, my head is somewhere else. What do you mean you got struck by like? How are you alive right now? Never mind. Yeah.
How do you turn into a crow?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said never mind.
Yeah. So actually, I felt it though. Not much, but I felt it.
Maybe we should just electrocute you a lot.
I mean, I've tried it before. It never seemed to work until that moment.
Well, like, you know, nature is more powerful, I guess.
Did it feel natural, Johnny?
Pain? Did the pain feel natural?
Is
that-
Can
Oh yeah,
Oh, it was natural. Okay.
it appeared. So okay, I'll tell you what.
Do you know what natural lightning feels like?
I was
If you
gonna
can
say,
answer
what's
that
your
question
point
for
of
me, if you can tell me how you would know the difference between natural lighting and not natural lighting, I will answer that question for you. But
So a very when you have very controlled electricity, there's amperages, and you can tell how the voltages are. And Johnny works with a lot of electricity, working on arcade machines. Now he probably knows that lightning's about 10,000 volts. That's why it arcs. And how many amperages I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
And I don't know if he's been struck by lightning before. Let's think. I don't think he has. So I don't know if he knows if this feels like it didn't feel magical. Like I don't know if it was like Harold Bjorn fucking with him or something. Or if there's like a man with a hammer flying around up above and he's like.
So okay, so to answer the distinctness of what you're asking, no, none of that seemed to be a part of the experience.
But the lightning died as soon as the island became out of view.
Mm-hmm.
But I did see it when I flew towards it, and there was no lightning at the time.
That's correct. Because you saw a faint glow, sort of outlining it.
What color was the glow, Johnny?
What color was the glow, Johnny?
Sort of a yellowish, like a flickering yellowish kind of a thing, as if it was a lantern of some kind.
It looked like, a glow from a lantern.
Next time I'll just do Johnny's voice.
Was it yellow in the same way that Morrigan saw? In the warehouse? Was that like the same type of yellow feeling? Like a lantern light?
If you can answer me this question, I will give you the answer. How would Morgan be able to get that description and be able to visualize that with Johnny?
Well, because so yellow versus lantern light. Yellow feels much more like artificial yellow, like when you put a green or purple bulb into something, versus a lantern light, which is much more of like that warm ambient glow.
No,
that's what I mean.
They are not. They are definitely not the same based on the description.
Okay.
Because the yellowish light was a very distinct sort of. It was like a lantern yellow, but it looked artificial.
Okay.
For Johnny, this was definitely a lantern light, and it looked like natural flame reflecting in a lantern of some kind.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know what to do, Johnny, because it's 2 whatever a.m. I don't know anymore, and I just want to go out and like destroy something, but I can't do that. So.
No, because you end up killing things.
That's my point. I can't do that. I'm not supposed to do that, so here I am. There's people that are helping this serial killer psychopath, and I can't do anything about it. So I just sit here and watch Derek wither away into nothing.
Well, we can't kill him even if we found him, because what would that do?
I mean, I wouldn't kill him right off the bat. It'd be a process, Like, don't you watch action in, like, movies? Like, torture, the process with that and that? No?
I mean, I think this is a little bit of a different case. Like, what if you torture him and then Derek feels it?
No, that's not what's going to happen.
How do you know?
I don't. I don't
then
have any
can't
solutions,
tell me that's
Johnny.
not what's going to happen if you don't know that's what's going to happen.
Because it's wishful thinking right now. I don't have any solutions right now. All I know is that their life is tied together or some nonsense, and Egg is doing what he can, but he's gonna run out of time. He's just a human.
We could always go to Xanadu. Ask about the giant crow.
The thing is, last time I dealt with that family, I kind of took a box that one of them really wanted, and then they destroyed an entire building. So I'm thinking maybe not so much.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Harold Bjorn's gonna. I'll go there. You could stay here.
To be fair, I'm just going to interject here. To be fair, it was only Harold Bjorn. The rest of the family had other responses. So I want to be clear about that.
That's true.
Yeah. So what do you want to do? Do you just want to sit here and twiddle your thumbs and not find anything out?
I think we need a little bit of rest. And then in the morning, when it's not a massive storm and post-apocalyptic earthquake or whatever else nonsense is happening around here, I'll wait for the report from the morgue about the identity of the remains and get some pieces together, go over my notes. Maybe you can call a magician and they can just fix all of our problems for us. Maybe. Do you know any magicians?
Maybe.
Wait, really? Never mind. I mean, okay.
I mean, you could take the legit way, the human way about doing all this, or you could do our way and get more done.
Okay, last time we did Our Way, you guys didn't like my Our Way version, so...
Oh, well, we didn't really care that you ripped people's throats out for no apparent reason.
That there was very justified reason.
He was affiliated with
Just
a gang.
because you don't agree with it doesn't make it wrong.
When did you get a cat?
It's a phantom cat.
Okay.
What would you rather do? We're not going to be able to make any progress at this time right now.
Well, okay.
The
well,
streets are going to be filled with emergency vehicles. We're not going to get around anywhere.
Why?
Because of the freaking earthquake.
What earthquake?
You didn't feel the earthquake?
No.
Maybe you're immune to earthquakes now after you got struck by lightning. I don't know. Don't actually quote me on that. I'm not that kind of a doctor. I don't know how that works.
I don't know if there's any kind of doctor for that, but
Doctor.
what do you want? Do you want to meet in the morning?
You can stay here. You don't have to leave if you don't want.
I was gonna walk over to Xanadu and see if Tamonte knew any giant birds.
At 2 a.m., I'm pretty sure they're wrapping up the night.
Yeah,
More like 3.
3 a.m. They're probably
they're
not
still awake. They don't
open.
sleep.
Why don't they sleep?
I don't know. I'm not
Is
them.
this just something that you made up that, like, no, the people that I need to talk to don't sleep?
They literally don't sleep. They'd be out till wee hours in the morning, with their club, and then you show up bright and early, and then they're all like, "Oh,
Who are you talking to get these ideas in your head? People have
that's
to
what happened. Didn't you watch season 1? That's how it was in the summer. That whole few days.
Okay, well,
It's still been that way.
I don't know. I need a few minutes, and then we can go, and I will go as somebody else. Not that it's gonna matter for the people that are there.
Why does that? Why are you going as someone else?
I generally travel as somebody else when I'm out in the city now.
Why?
What do you mean, why? I pissed off half of that family, okay? And I got a freaking serial killer trying to take his revenge on me. So I think maybe my identity needs to be a little bit skewed sometimes.
Yeah, I guess. I'm waiting.
I'm gonna go check on Derek.
Okay. And then he makes another sandwich while she walks away.
So you step into the bedroom as it's been set up to be, with the hospital bed monitoring. The doctor kind of briefs you on the fact that he's had a couple of lucid periods while you were gone, but nothing where he was communicating. He appears to be sleeping soundly. But that, there was also a short period of him having blood pressure issues where his pressure was too low.
Was it something that happened a lot, or just once for a period of time?
Once for a period of time here, but in the time that you've been gone, but he has experienced other episodes of low blood pressure for a short period of time.
I'm not sure if that means anything yet, but it might. Has any of the other marks that he was talking about, like, come out or become apparent?
So the work that, and this is a good opportunity to talk about the work that you and Egg have been doing for the past month, right? Egg has been able to, using various means and his abilities with you and your means and abilities, to give Derek more bouts of clarity. He's not babbling or incoherent as much. He has occasional episodes of that. And as Egg describes it, it's a balancing of things in his, his spirit and his body. there was something that both of you noticed a couple of weeks into this process as he becomes more and more coherent, that his normal bodily functions are having more difficulty, and so certain meds are having to be introduced to make sure that he, continues to process, like his liver and pancreas and his kidneys continue to process correctly. It's as if giving him the clarity has affected his physical health, and so as that process has happened, you and Egg have been having discussions back and forth about when is too far in this particular case. And within a couple of days of this, maybe, like Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, you both decided that maybe the next thing should be to, while he's clear, or while we're taking the opportunity where he's clear enough, just begin to write it, sort of bring back his memories. And that's the process that Egg is now going off and researching, and it's going to come back to you. So you get real moments with Derek now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's clear that it's affecting his health. And Egg believes that at some point you're going to have to make a decision about returning him to that state of affairs, and maybe his body will return to a better operating state, or letting him progress to whatever and just letting him die.
Okay. Okay.
And so you get a few moments with Derek, kind of holding his hand. And just as you're about to step up, you get a text message.
Okay. Who's it from?
Catherine Devereaux. She says she's got an ID on the hand, not on the body, but on the hand. And she says she wants you to show up at the morgue tomorrow morning with the details of one Ellen Temmer.
Okay. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I go back out, Johnny, I think we're gonna need to take a moment for the evening, because I gotta go to the Morrigan in the morning.
Oh, okay.
I gotta go through my old research. So.
I mean, you just meet me at the R&R diner at what time?
I don't know. Pick a time.
9 a.m.
Okay, great.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. We'll meet there at 9.
Okay.
I'm gonna go see if I can run into Monte quick, and then I'm going home.
Okay.
Also, we can go phone shopping.
Okay.
Yes. All right, bye. And Johnny walks out the door.
It's a short walk to Xanadu for Johnny. The lights are already off. You knock on the door. Tamonte kind of steps out, looks at you. What's up, little man?
Hey, I got a question.
Okay.
Do you know who a giant bird is? Like a giant crow.
Tamonte pulls his shades down. Why do you ask?
Well, there's this island in the middle of the bay, and there's something under the water. I don't know what it was. But I was like, I gotta get out to that island because it looks like really cool out there. And there might be someone strong on it. So I slingshot myself off the top of a building towards it. And as I was flying towards it, a giant crow raven bird came, grabbed me, and then brought me back, and then nestled me a little bit, and then flew away.
He looks at you, puts glasses back up. Listen, little man, there is an answer to that question, I think. I think you're going to have to come back and talk to Mr. Gallows. He's a little busy right now.
Oh, when's he free?
Come by tomorrow in the afternoon. Have lunch. We'll get him to have a chat with you.
Okay, put it in his schedule.
He makes time for you, Johnny. He makes time.
Okay, that's good to hear. All right, have a good one, Tomate.
Oh, sorry about that. I disappeared on you guys for a second. Did we?
Yeah, we all danced around.
That almost
Meta went to the bathroom at the perfect time.
It's.
I'm Herbert.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I'm sorry, guys.
Look at that, Johnny. Now you're Johnny.
Oh my God. He's Johnny.
Terrible with spelling.
All right, I'm in charge now.
What happens next, Gio?
First, I undo everything and Naomi is live again.
Done.
Damn it. I don't like that. Also, thank you, Mike, for coming in with that raid. Go follow Unmade Gaming. For those who aren't aware, this show is taking place on 3 channels, DM'd by the wonderful Video Store Cowboy, who is not me, as much as it may seem like it. Over on Video Store Cowboy's channel, Unmade Gaming's channel, and here. So if you want to see more of this, go over there. And if you came in from Mike's channel and you want to see more of what you see on his channel on Wednesdays, also follow here. And follow Johnny while you're at it, Video Store Cowboy. And thank you, Courtney, for that resub as well. 2 months with Chit Prime. Much appreciated.
So Meta,
I screwed up.
Yeah,
I screwed up. Sorry, I went to unmute myself and I hit the wrong button. I'm so sorry. It's stupid that the video and the mute are at the same place.
You know, we could have tried to fix this ourselves by turning our cameras off and on while you were gone, but we just didn't.
Yeah.
Well, we would need her to do it because.
Well, no, but we would be able to rearrange things and watch the stream.
I mean, we can try it now. Hold on.
As long as we reactivate our cameras in the same order that we joined the call, it'll be fine.
There.
But now she's already moving stuff, so.
Oh.
Love you, Meta.
So
love you, Meta.
I'm in the darkness. Hello.
It's imprisoning you. It's all that you can see. It's absolute horror. You cannot live. You cannot die.
I never thought she was moving anything.
The sheer, just like
she gonna kill you.
The sass.
Too
If
bad
anybody, she used to kill me.
And if she had the power to turn into a crow in real life right now,
and come to wherever you live, that is not where she lives.
Uh-huh.
So dead right now.
So while she's doing this, we're actually going to fade into Gio waking up the next morning.
okay,
You said that you wanted to do a montage, so I figured we'd start with you.
yeah. After waking up with a bit of a hangover and just sort of rolling out of bed, he would probably attempt to make himself look presentable again, getting back into his usual bartender outfit, and he would walk, it's not far, to the house of Naomi's parents.
Okay. Naomi's father is the one who owns the Queen of Hearts.
Correct.
But you choose to go see him or them at their house.
Yeah. To be fair, George, her father, isn't really around the Queen of Hearts much anymore. He's gotten old and is mostly retired. He's still owns the place, but he doesn't usually like stop by all that much other than to check in.
Okay. And so describe to us Naomi's parents' house.
It's a fairly decent place. It's an apartment rather than a house, but it's I'm trying to think. It's Where have I established that I live and the Queen of Hearts is again?
You established that the Queen of Hearts, I believe, was in the seedier parts of downtown. It's one of the older parts, essentially.
Yeah.
And you lived in the blue-collar district, actually pretty much in the same area that Cal lived, generally.
Okay. Yeah, so their place is a little bit closer to downtown, in what is a well-established kind of complex that's been around for a long time. One of the like nicer buildings that is still old, but like managed to maintain some level of niceness throughout the years. Kind of old brick, but well maintained. And the apartment itself takes up basically the entire floor that they're on. And I don't know. It's fairly well adorned, not necessarily modern. They're an older couple, so it's a lot of stuff that has been around for a very long time. But although they have enough money to update it, they kind of just haven't. Yeah, it's been quite a long time since I've been to this place.
Okay, one final question. Do they know you as Gio or Giovanni?
They would probably call me Giovanni.
Okay. All right, so when you knock on the door, Naomi's mother steps up, answers, and says, Giovanni, it's been an age. How do... And she just looks as lost for words as you see her kind of welling up a little bit. She just kind of reaches out and gives you a big hug.
Yeah, it's been too long. I'm sorry I haven't called lately.
You're a young man. You have to move on with your life.
Yeah, but you're I wouldn't be where I am without George anyways, and it's good to see you, Anna.
And you come in, and she escorts you into their apartment and sits you down at the table and immediately begins to start making you a cup of tea. Mm-hmm. George is in the other room. He'll be right out.
All right, thanks.
And so you watch her in her ritual of making this, and it's a very slow, sort of methodical process as she, pours the water, gets the water into the kettle and places it, and grabs the tin of tea.
Probably very familiar too.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. This is something that she would have done for both you and Naomi, right? Mm-hmm. You were the kids. She would have taken care of you. This is mom. This is the mother. This is the matron, sort of the maternal sort of experience. And so again, flashes of just being here with Naomi. And you're seated in the same spot that you would be seated at their kitchen table. And, as you're just kind of taking in her doing this, you kind of look over at where Naomi would be sitting, and it just kind of pulls at you. Thank you, Trent, for doing that, by the way. That was awesome. I forgot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so she the kettle begins to whistle as she grabs for it, and George walks in the room. Giovanni, we haven't seen you in an age. Is everything okay at the casino?
Yeah, all's good there. I just kind of felt like I needed to come by. It has been too long.
And he just also looks at a loss for words, and he walks over, and you can see there's a real crinkle to his eyes, and there's a little bit of a teariness to it, but you can see he's trying to be a man, and he just grabs onto your shoulder and just kind of gives you that squeeze, that reassuring squeeze, something that you haven't felt in a while, a very fatherly kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's silent for a moment, and then he lets go, and he sits, he walks around and takes his seat at the table, the same seat that he always takes.
Mm-hmm.
As his wife pulls down another cup and places it on the table, or places it on the counter where she is making the tea.
Mm-hmm.
No, what can we do for you, Gio? What's going on?
Nothing. You guys feel that earthquake last night?
Yeah. And Naomi's mother kind of just speaks up. We haven't felt an earthquake since
Yeah.
since that day. I had bad dreams. I couldn't get back to sleep really after that. I dreamed one bad dream. Yeah. And she just kind of loses it. And you see, her father just throw this concern over at his wife, right? And so there's another silent moment or silent beat as the memory just kind of permeates that experience.
It's yeah. First one since then. I guess I didn't expect it to feel so familiar.
Yeah. You hear her mother say. George kind of looks back at her, looks at you. The city doesn't get earthquakes like this. I hear other parts of the country do, but not here. It's so unusual.
I know.
What's bugging you about it, Gio?
Nothing. It's just memories, I guess. I had dreams too. That day.
Mother comes and puts the tea kettle on the table, puts a cup in front of you, a cup in front of her spot, and a cup in front of George. And she begins to kind of fuss with the little things. And her mother says, yeah, me too. I remember flashes of seeing her in that hospital bed. And then you coming to get us when we had just stepped away for a second to get a cup of coffee. And that you were telling us that she was... And then she just goes silent.
Yeah. I just kind of look down at the tea for a moment, and I look up at the expression on her face. I'm sorry. I should go.
No, Gio, stay, or Giovanni, stay, please. I'm about to make lunch. Please stay.
No. I can't impose.
Is there something? And George kind of steps up. Is there something wrong at work? Is that what this is about?
No. Work is fine. Queen of Hearts, it deals you a different hand every day, but it goes.
Okay, Giovanni. You see George kind of choke up again. Don't be a stranger. Come by soon for dinner, please.
Okay, I will.
And as you step up, Naomi's mother again gets up, grabs you and gives you that motherly hug again and just holds you there for a minute. And then she just sort of pats you on the back, ruffles your hair just a little bit, and then kind of pushes you on your way.
Thank you.
Anytime. And so you exit out the door closes behind you, and you hear a little bit of sobbing stepping away from the door. And then silent. And you're just kind of left there standing outside of that door, just looking at the hallway.
Okay.
And so that was giving your attention to your logos?
Yeah.
Okay.
As I slowly walk my way back to my own apartment. I pull out my phone and I'm looking up all the news I can on the earthquake. I want to know the Richter scale. I want to know the epicenter more than anything. Any sort of information that has been learned about it.
Okay, so as you're kind of actually this would be on the news. So yeah, as you're kind of watching the news and just kind of casually bringing it in, it appears to be an earthquake of on the scale of about 5.0. It appears to be centered in the neighborhood of Cross End. And it did the most devastation there as it knocked more, dilapidated buildings, sort of, causing crumbling. There was some bits of damage around the rest of town. There was a concern about a leak at Aesir Industries in the industrial zone. But other than that, everything appears to be, there was no deaths, just a lot of, injuries and scared nerves.
Can I get like the exact epicenter? Within like a few blocks, at least.
You would definitely be able to get that information at some later point. Like if you were to look online, there would, you would definitely, as you're consulting Sage and looking for the local, geological sort of survey service that would convey that information. Absolutely, you would be able to get it, and it's right on the edge of Cross End, bordering on, or kind of like between Cross End, like the end of Cross End, which leads out into what is essentially like a set of rolling fields just beyond the city limit.
From what I know of like this area, or what do I know about this area of Cross End? Because I know we mentioned like that was the territory of one of the gangs.
The Beasts.
The Beasts. Would I know that this is like a big part of their territory? Is it like
they run Cross End because it's dilapidated and
okay.
Almost like the wild.
Okay, got it. I would send a text to Morrigan that just says, "Hey, I need your help with something. Are you free?"
Damn, she's a wanted woman lately. Johnny wants her. Catherine Devereaux wants her. Gia wants her. What's
Arthur
Morgan
Bishop
gonna do?
wants her. God damn it.
I mean, to be fair, Cal wants her too, but he's missing.
Cal's not missing.
He's not missing.
He's missing to Johnny.
Because he won't answer his text. He's like, he's a missing person, so I'm going to go to the police station, file a missing persons report. What's your reason, sir?
Detective, go.
No text messages. What do you mean? He's not responding to my text messages. It's a missing persons report. A little extreme, sir.
It would be more like, he's not responding to my text. And everybody like, I wouldn't either.
You can't hear that via text.
But they
Trust
can
me.
hear it if they've talked to him. That's how you read it.
You know,
Yeah.
you always hear it in
Yeah.
his voice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Do you want to do a Herbert scene, or?
Oh, well, I wanted to know if you were going to respond to his text.
If I'm waking up, I'm getting things ready to go. It's what time did you say it was?
For Gio, it was probably early in the morning because he probably didn't sleep very well. So probably around close to the time that you would, probably get up to go to the morgue. Okay. Essentially.
Yeah. So if I got it before I got to the morgue, I would respond. I'm on my way down to the morgue right now. Do you want to meet at something diner? What is it?
R&R.
R&R Diner. I was gonna say Red Rocket, and I was like, that's definitely Fallout and not this game at all. Okay.
Isn't it Rabid Rabbit or Running something like? I don't remember. Valana came up with the R&R Diner thing, so I can't remember what the actual name is for the. So.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Something rabbit.
Yeah. But just
Rabbit.
let him know that I'm meeting. I can meet him at the R&R Diner at 9. Johnny will be there, or if you prefer private, he can swing by my office in an hour.
Yeah, R&R Diner is fine.
Okay. Cool. So that's what's
Yeah.
up.
Okay, so we're gonna cut to Morrigan, going to the morgue.
Okay. I'm at the morgue.
So you step in, and Catherine kind of escorts you around. You see a very peculiar, interesting woman working the one of the cases, one of the bodies, but she's not currently looking at the body or from the case of which you're looking at. But she does catch your eye, and at some point you get the fact that this is Flora. Flora, who Derek had mentioned briefly, had been talking to her, and you can see that she's kind of mumbling and talking to herself as she's doing her work.
Okay.
And so Catherine just kind of escorts you, back to what essentially appears to be like a private room in the area. And she closes the door, and there's another forensic investigator in there. And she says, okay, what can you tell us about Ellen Temmer?
Ellen was the last of the murder victims that we discovered before Sydney got away. Back on the case with Arthur Bishop. I don't understand. I thought we had I thought we had buried her body.
So you're saying that the body wasn't mutilated in any way before it was buried?
Oh no, all the bodies were mutilated on the previous case.
Okay.
I was just under the impression that we had all of the body parts.
According to the records, and she pulls out a case file that indicates how the body was handled, and basically, as an evidence and asset, it was kind of, the chain of, I guess call it the chain of authority, right? Or the chain of custody.
Yep.
And she kind of points it through an itemized list of all, the various components of the body or whatever. Yeah, it's all there, and it was all buried. Seems unusual that the records indicate that the body was buried, and she emphasizes whole.
Yes.
This hand, it's preserved incredibly well. There's no rot. There's no decay.
Yeah.
In fact, Flora made a comment about that and said that it was incredibly unusual because there's always some decay.
Well, if it was flash frozen, like our other body.
But there wasn't evidence of that before, was there? When she was murdered?
No, there wasn't, but I don't know. It's a scientific marvel. What was the identity of the person's body that was found with the head that was at the previous scene?
That was Christina Darrow. 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 Christina Darrow.
Not from my list.
No, not from your list.
Christina Darrow.
However, one of the things that is interesting about the observation of that particular individual is that she had a build complexion, could have been she closely resembled Sydney White.
Did they ever find the head?
No. She was identified by birthmarks and fingerprints.
Who was the person that signed off the last person to sign off in the chain of custody before the body was buried? Like, who was the last person?
Derek. Derek personally escorted each of the victims that he was responsible for investigating to make sure that they got a proper, respected burial.
Shit. So that means that he knows where they're buried and either exhumed the bodies or the bodies never actually made it there. We have to exhume all of the graves. all of them.
Are you suggesting that we need to exhume the graves of, what was it, 16 individuals?
Well, I guess, yes, technically, also Sydney, if they've buried her already. Every single one of them. 16.
Sydney White's body has not been found. Just her head is the only evidence, and all references to where she was last seen. She disappeared 2 years ago.
Yeah, so 15 graves. All 15 of them.
Catherine just kind of... Okay.
Do you want me to get the court order? I can do it myself.
No, I want you to... I want you to step up and she struggles with it for a second. I want you to go get all the case files that you have on this, including all your personal notes, and bring them back here. We will set up a location, a task force location, and work out of that as our point room for this case.
Okay.
She shakes her head.
We're gonna need a lot more room than this for morgue, so start evicting some of the officer spaces, I think.
Okay. All right. I'll go arrange for the quarter to get the bodies exhumed, and she begins to step out, leaving you there for just a second with the hand. And it just kind of sits there almost beckoning you, because the way that it's reached out, it's as if, because you didn't really see it the first time because there was a wad of paper in it and the way it was shaped, but when it's laid out there on the examining table, it almost looks like it's, was on somebody's, when it was reaching out for somebody, reaching for their hand, beckoning.
Mm-hmm. I put on a pair of gloves. I want to kind of like pick up the hand and examine it some more.
We'll meet an investigate roll.
Okay. So, in my previous roll, I gave attention for the third time on this, and I took the dynamite for investigation moves. So, hopefully I get a 12 or more.
Do it.
Okay, I'm going to double check the details on what that actually does for the investigate roll while you're yelling out your tags.
Yeah, it says that the MC will reveal the most important detail, and then I can ask my questions.
Okay, so that's the simple breakdown of it.
Yeah,
for the dynamite.
Okay. That's what I wrote in my on my PDF, and I save it every single time I update it, so it'll update on the PDF because I have no place to put improvement information on the cheat sheet. And
yeah, totally get it.
Okay, so. Evoking another weakness for the maiden butcher. I'm going to use psychological and criminal profiling, so psychoanalysis and psychology. Connections being at the police station and the morgue. I am also probably... I'm thinking about also invoking another weakness tag, though. I don't know if she's like borderline enraged right now. Because she is like... He is manipulating everything right now, and she has to, like, exhuming the bodies, disturbing the dead, like, completely destroying the grave. Like, the woman that they laid to rest after they had already been tortured and just gone through so much in their life, and now in death they're being brought back into the suffering. And, like, so I don't know if it's rage or something else, but she's definitely emotionally affected by this right now. So... Mm-hmm. I think I'm gonna invoke that weakness tag though, as enraged, because she's holding it inside, but on the inside she's definitely boiling. So we'll see. But yeah, okay, let's investigate, and we'll see how that goes.
No dynamite. No dynamite.
I didn't get dynamite.
Oh, it didn't come through for me yet.
Really?
That's weird. Yeah. Stupid roll 20.
I just rolled an 8. It was a mild success because I only ended up rolling with a single power tag because of my 2 weakness tags.
Did you want to throw a crew tag on there? Just out of curiosity? Well, it's not going to make a difference if you got an 8, but I was just curious. Okay. Why the hell hasn't that roll come through? That's really weird. Okay, roll 20. Okay. So with the investigate,
get 1 clue.
You get 1 clue, and it might be vague or it might be So depending upon how you ask and what you ask, I'm actually going to play fast and loose with that particular element of this, depending on the question.
My question is going to be: was the hand specifically positioned, like purposely positioned, to be in the shape that it's in? You're muted.
Sorry. So based on the way the question that you're asking and I'm actually going to give you the answer. This is going to be something that would actually be obvious.
Oh, okay.
Based on the muscle structure, right?
Okay.
And the post sort of death damage that could happen to a body if it's kind of a body piece that's kind of moved, right? There might be bruising or some sort of other imperfections.
Well, a bone would probably be broken.
None of those elements are there.
Okay.
It is obvious that at the time of death, the hand was reaching out like this.
But that wasn't present or reported in the initial autopsy of her body.
No.
Of her body.
No.
What the shit? What the shit? Okay. Morrigan is very concerned.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna, I put the hand back down and like shake my head as I take the gloves off and throw them in the trash. She has no idea, and she can't think out loud about it because it's very obvious at this point that there's so much more non-science specific things happening with all this that she's now wondering if she should start contacting people from before. One person comes to mind specifically.
Okay, so we're gonna fade on her heading to the R&R diner as she's having these thoughts, and we're gonna open on Herbert. Herbert, where do you live?
In the old quarter. Actually, it's an older, but very well kept, small kind of Victorian house. It's got the little veranda that goes halfway around the house, basically from one front corner to the other front corner around the thing. It's actually a corner house, so it's got, it's at an intersection of 2 streets, which is why it's called a corner house. But it's not a huge Victorian house, but it's probably 2-bedroom kind of thing, but it's very well maintained. And there are statues in the front yard, various things that he as a sculptor has made, and there's all the windows are closed and usually shuttered, especially on the first floor. Yeah, that's about as far as I'm going to go with that for right now.
So, not during the night because it was too dark in your garden or your front area, but at some point when you get up the next day, you realize that one of the statues has been damaged based on the shaking from the earthquake, and when it fell over, one of the appendages on it just kind of broke off, and you're kind of looking at that. Just it pains you. How would he respond to that?
Well, he's miffed, of course, and he's kind of trying to push the the statue back up, and he tries it a time or two, but he's just not strong enough. His wrappings or gloves or whatever, they keep catching on things, and he eventually just decides to leave it lay. And but he does manage to pick up the appendage and kind of looking at the ends of it and trying to figure out if there's a way that he can reattach it. If he's just going to have to scrap the whole thing because in his mind it's ruined. If he can't make a perfect patch on it that you would never be able to tell that it was broken, there's no reason to keep it out there. It's corrupted at this point.
So from based on experience, you've had this happen once or twice. You see that the break is in a place where it could be construed as a part of the sculpture, but that you need to go get a very specific bonding material to help repair it. But that bonding material, or that place to buy that bonding material, is actually located in the blue quarter, and it is only open during the day.
So as a couple of the neighborhood kids some of them are gearing up and ready to go back to school, and some of them are not looking forward to it at all. There's a couple of them are going by. He kind of waves to one or two of them that live in the neighborhood so they know him, so they don't get too freaked out by him. But he usually pays them to help him set up his installations in the front yard and whatnot. And so he flags a couple of them down and asks them if they would set this back upright while he's gone, and he leaves them, some money and goes to get a new set of gloves and like call an Apollo, and calls ahead to the place that he's got to go and says, I need to come in and pick this stuff up. Can you please have it at the counter so that I can just get it and go?
And they you've had a conversation. This is a place that you frequent a lot. So quick conversation, a little bit of a greeting, and they said they'll be ready for you in 30 minutes.
And so he goes back inside and kind of takes off his coat and shakes it out a little bit. And there's just, very fine powdery dust comes out of it. And he just puts it back on and adjusts his hood and gets his basic, it's almost like a ski mask, kind of thing, and puts it on, puts his sunglasses on and just gets himself ready to go out. And when his Apollo shows up, he heads off to get the stuff.
Okay. And so we're going to cut to Johnny arriving at the R&R diner.
Are my favorite two gray suited people there?
Yeah. Paying attention to you.
I'd go sit with them.
Glares at first, and then they kind of soften a little bit as both faces make the exact same smile. Hats are on the table. Good morning, Johnny.
Hi.
You gonna order the regular?
Yep. What are you guys up to?
Waiting for you.
Well, I'm here. What do I call you guys?
They just shake their head. Don't worry about it.
What? Why are you guys so secretive?
That's the question that you're going to have to ask Mr. Gannicus.
Oh, you mean the guy who doesn't return my text messages? Who's the guy on the roof?
They exchange a glance. What roof are you talking of, Johnny?
The one from a month ago.
I wasn't there a month ago, Johnny.
Do you guys all have a hive mind?
I don't know what you're talking about, Johnny. This is confusing.
Why? Are you guys so difficult? So what are you?
It's our
guys?
job.
Well, so why are you guys so difficult?
Because it's our job, Johnny.
To be difficult? How do I get that job? I would love to be difficult.
And you see one of them actually get a little uncomfortable, and for the first time, you see a distinct mannerism difference between the two of them. You kind of have to be born with it.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
I was just.
Johnny does say that and looks at them. Do they laugh?
Yes, actually, both of them do chuckle a little bit. They get your joke.
So are you like me? Obviously.
They exchange a glance.
Like you were born with this, like as far as you can remember.
I don't really remember being born, Johnny. But sure, as far back as I can remember.
None of us really remember being born, okay? Why are you guys so literal?
Keeps things simple.
Ugh. No one's literal any day, so it makes it more complicated.
Would you rather we be figurative?
I mean, would that be easier? No, it wouldn't. All right. Anyways, so why you guys still watch me? Don't you guys not work for who the hell? Bald Italian man.
Vidalis?
Yeah.
The union dispute has been resolved, Johnny. Mr. Gannicus asked us to watch you.
Ah. That's why you guys are back.
We never left, Johnny.
You did too. I came here one day. You guys weren't even here. And then a bunch of you were following random people going from it's a long story. Then you guys tried to do some weird, I couldn't, make yourselves disappear on my brain. And then we fought in the forest. And then there was a lot of you. How many are there of you?
I don't understand your question, Johnny.
How do you not understand my question? There's two identical people sitting in front of me right now. Y'all ain't twins. There's many of you out there.
They exchange a glance. They exchange a glance.
Convince.
They exchange a glance, look back at you and say, there are differences. And roll a convince.
Okay. So I'm going to do Indomitable because I'm being stubborn. Student because I'm inquisitive. I'm going to do no, I don't think student discounts works.
I don't know. I could see an argument for that.
I mean, like, they cut through the bullshit.
That argument.
Cut through the bullshit.
That's the only thing I could think of for student discounts. And I'll keep it at that. I'll keep it at 3. Is there any tags against me?
Oh, no.
Okay. I don't have that tag against me anymore because I'm used to
Nope.
it.
Nope.
So I'm gonna roll it convince. Let me watch this happen. Oh, fuck! Really?
Okay, so for some reason, I can't see the rolls. I'm going to refresh my roll 20. It's a what?
It's a 6.
Ooh.
Narratively, it works perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure what I want to do here, though. Okay. Wait. Why the hell? Okay, sorry. So they kind of look at you, they kind of smile, and they start to pay the check and begin to slide out.
What? Oh, the same time tomorrow?
We'll be following you all day, Johnny. Just don't get into too much trouble.
What if I turn into a crow and fly away?
We have helicopters for that. I think you saw one. And they smile. And they step out to the car.
So they were both sitting on one,
motherfuckers.
they were both sitting on one side of the booth like a couple.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. You see just Johnny just like watching them leave. He's like,
And so as they're stepping out and walking to their car, parked in the parking lot, being able to watch you, and you see that there's actually an exchange going on between the two of them for just a couple of seconds, and then you see a little bit more of the distinctness and the personality and the body language of one or the other as Morrigan is stepping in the door.
So they know that I effed with time?
They don't know that you effed with time.
They don't know that they saw the helicopter.
No, but he's implying that they have helicopters.
Okay.
we did see that. Even though that happened, we did see the helicopter.
Yeah, you saw the helicopter so Johnny was a part.
Right, you're right.
In the park when, so yes.
Yes, now, yeah, because it landed and all that too, so, okay. My bad. My brain.
It's
I
okay.
arrive. I most likely notice that the gray-suited men are there and ignore them because
There's no point.
I already saw all the shit go down before, and I really don't want to deal with them. So I walk in and I find Johnny and I sit down. Hello. Good morning.
Morning. I'm just eating a bunch of food. There's like fucking 12 plates of food.
Gio is on his way. I invited him. I hope it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got in contact. Well, he got in contact with me, and then I was like, well, we're going to be here, so.
I wonder if he texted me. My phone's broken. I don't know.
Yeah, you need to get your new phone today.
We gotta do that right after we're done eating.
Okay. I could probably just buy it online and have somebody bring it to you.
What?
Just saying. You don't have a SIM card though that works. Yeah, never mind. That won't work.
No, everything got fried.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would just keep eating, and be like, so what'd you do, at, the morgue?
Well, I'm having 15 bodies exhumed this afternoon, so.
Oh, so like a normal day for you.
Nope, definitely not normal.
There's a joke there.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to move on with my life now.
Oh, just exhuming 15 bodies and be like, oh, that's my life.
Something weird is happening. I don't know, some crazy voodoo stuff. I had a conversation with somebody a couple months ago, a patient of mine. Without giving names or specifics, but I think we need to go and maybe investigate Samuel a little bit more.
I guess.
Well, he does weird stuff with the dead.
Does he?
I don't know. I didn't get it. I didn't understand. We just need to know what the deal. There's something about a mark. I don't know. Listen.
What was he doing to the dead?
I am out of leads. I don't know what to do. So I'm working backward.
Okay. Yeah, we can go talk to him.
He probably won't talk to us, so.
We just gotta stop by the store real quick. I guess we gotta wait for Gio.
Yeah. Yeah.
I arrive.
Oh, look at, speak of the devil. There he is.
Oh my God!
He wasn't doing so well. I don't think so. Just.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. He texted me. Hello.
He could have texted me too.
Are you two having this conversation as Gio walks up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you text me?
Why?
See.
It's been months.
Did you get a text from me?
No, I got struck by lightning yesterday, and I was wondering because you texted her. Maybe you texted me at the same time.
No. Although I guess I figured I would let you know eventually, but not important. You got struck by lightning? You're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm here.
You know what? Not important.
He literally hasn't changed.
That's what she said.
It has been a minute.
No, it's
Yeah.
been months. It's been more than a minute.
It was a figure of speech, Johnny.
No, I'm
You were
being
just
literal,
making
like
jokes
those
at
guys
me
out there, and I
about-
point at the gray suit people.
When Johnny points out to them, they actually acknowledge and wave back with smiles.
I mean, better our friend than our enemy, or whatever they are.
Yeah, Cal's hired them to watch me and said, no, it's better than Bjorn, I guess.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with Bjorn. That's good.
Cal, have you been able to get in contact with Cal at all?
Nah, he stopped texting me. I did a few things with him. Like, sometimes he would have meetings with people that you think the situation would get hairy, so he'd, like, bring me into it. But, you know, I started asking about a weird dude that's under his employ, I guess, that runs the gray suit guys. I point out, like, dummy at him again. And I kept asking about it, and then, you know, the calls became less and less. So no one's talked to Cal. Apparently,
You're talking about the dude on the roof?
watching me. Huh?
You're talking about the guy on the roof? That we
Yeah, that guy on the roof. Did we ever get his name?
Yes.
From
we did.
Cal?
His name was given. I don't think Sathana actually gave you his name.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's Archangel, but, like, was it ever mentioned to us? So, yeah, I'm playing that right. So, yeah, I don't know who it was. It was a, you know, strangely beautiful man, so it's probably in Cal's wheelhouse, but yeah, he has a helicopter. They can follow me in helicopter, so I can't turn into a bird to get them away. They'll follow us wherever we go.
I mean, I don't think that they're the enemy here.
They're not. They're there to protect me.
Right. So basically, don't screw with shit and we'll be okay.
God, a lot has happened. But those guys
Yeah.
are working for Cal now?
I don't think that they're working for Cal specifically, but I don't know.
They're like superhero police.
Yeah, basically, don't screw with shit.
All right, I guess then.
They came to my place, shot it up with a freaking helicopter. Well, they didn't shoot it up. They destroyed my walls, and I had to reverse time to undo all the damage. And then I was like, okay, seriously, let's not do this again. So I let them in because they wanted to talk to some chick named
Did
Sathana.
you explain that part to Johnny before?
Yeah.
Okay.
When we were going over all of the the stories. Long story short, they're just making sure that people like us don't do crazy things out here.
I'm from the future.
Great. Then they can probably, assuming they can hear us, it probably doesn't matter. And if they do, maybe Cal will actually fucking talk to me.
So
I
what's
need
happening?
your help. And I might just be crazy. It might be a part of my imagination, and I really, really kind of hope it is. But you guys felt that earthquake last night, right?
No.
Yes, there was an earthquake last night. Johnny,
I don't believe anyone else right now. I got struck by lightning. There was no earthquake. I did try to fly to an island.
It was all of them. It was Johnny, even if you didn't feel it. It
No,
happened.
the taxi cab driver. I don't know.
that's like the question of if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? And the answer is yes, it does. Just because you're not there to hear it doesn't mean it doesn't. She like just stares at Johnny like
He's staring back and he's like eating food, like
aggressively.
It's got like an entire chicken fried steak on it. Like, his way around.
So what exactly can we help with, Gio?
I don't know, but something about the earthquake. I don't think it was natural.
Okay. Any particular indicators of that?
let's just call it personal experience for now, and if we find out that it's not, I'll explain more. But I wanted to just do some digging in Cross End. It's where the epicenter was and the most of the damage, and I just kind of wanted to look around, and I know that it's beast territory, and I don't want to go there alone.
Okay.
I'll go. We gotta get me a new phone though first.
Is there a problem?
Just the dude that,
Yeah.
I mean, do they know it's you?
I don't know. But I'm just saying, there's a risk there, which I'm totally willing to take because I have some aggression that needs to get out right now. So if they want to start something, I'm okay.
I'm
We had
not-
this conversation.
I'm not bringing you out there to kill another
no.
beast.
No.
All right.
I mean, like, self-defense, if it needs to happen. It's cool.
I'm just saying, don't go looking for self-defense when we don't need it.
Yep.
It's not self-defense when you walk up to someone, you look like a weak bitch, and then they are
Well, you
like,
think that's how it went
and
down?
then you punch them in the face, and then they're like, I'm gonna kill you, and pull out a knife. You're like, no, if I kill you first, you're like self-defense, and you're murdering people.
You're watching way too many movies.
Or he did that last night at the arena. He walked in and said, "You look like a weak bitch," and I hit him.
Too many movies. That totally happened at the arena last night. Now for making that canon.
Oh God. Okay. Well, I have to wait several hours because it takes a long time to exhume just one body. Never mind, 15 of them. So I got time.
You can tell me more about that on the car ride, I guess. We got a lot to catch up on.
Serial killer, body parts showing up from previously buried people, that kind of deal.
Great.
Yep.
At this point, when you guys are like talking, like Johnny's finishing up the meal, and he's like, Doris, and he like stacks up the plates for her and like puts them on the counter for her.
Thank you, honey. Always good to see you.
Bye, Doris.
Bye. Don't forget to write to your mother. I haven't seen her in a while. Tell her to come by.
I will. And he's left a tip on the like a $20 tip on the thing.
Wow, Johnny, big spender over here. What's going on?
To be fair, that's probably only 20%.
No, I meant like for a kid. What, you got to do a lot of summer work or something?
Yeah. I work at an arcade.
You do not make a large salary at that arcade. It's your father's business.
I mean, look. I mean,
tell you're lying.
I don't know what you're talking about. And he walks out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Morrigan and Gio follow him, and we're going to cut to across the street as Herbert's Apollo pulls up in front of the building that provides the supplies to help repair your sculptures. You step out, and can you describe how stark his look would be in broad daylight?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what kind of a reaction would people have?
Well, I mean, even in the height of summer, he's completely bundled up. But the Apollo driver in particular, I mean, even though he was told that he's going to this location and back to his house because he's not going to be there long, so basically just wait. I almost said Calvin. No, not Calvin. Herbert gets out of the thing, and he's a little bit hunched, and he kind of has to lean on the car when he stands up for a minute and give himself a moment to kind of stabilize, like he's having trouble with his balance. And as he's walking towards the door, there's a lady walking by with her daughter, who's probably about 5 or 6 or so, and the kid is just saucers for eyes looking at him because I mean, he's got the ski mask on, but even around the edges of the mouth, you can see that it's just cracked and kind of scabby a little bit right around the all the way around the mouth. If they were close enough to see around the edges of the sunglasses, you could see it around the edges of his eyes as well, with possibly just kind of dust building up at the corners and around his lips and everything. When he goes to close the door to the Apollo, it's just a puff of dust comes out of the sleeve, and he coughs a bit and moves towards the door. But mother and daughter kind of like, oh, and moving around it, because he's got the rumpled raincoat thing, and he's all kind of just hunched over and moves with a slight kind of a little bit of a limp. It's not too bad, but it's noticeable, especially when he's moving a long distance.
And so as the mother and daughter just kind of move around you, and you acknowledge the situation, you're almost to the door when two figures step in front of you. Hey, what are you hiding there? What you got under that jacket? Why are you wearing that mask? You gonna rob the place?
No.
And as you look up, you see two burly looking individuals wearing skull jackets.
I'm just here to shop and pick up some supplies.
Well, you got to come out in like that. Why can't you show yourself?
I don't have an appealing appearance.
You can't be that ugly. And they start to reach for you.
Well, he tries to recoil, but he is not exactly a dexterous individual.
Well, as you're stepping back, they're trying to reach for you. One of them almost gets your jacket, and we're going to cut back to you, Johnny. You hear this exchange happening across the street.
Do I see the skulls?
You don't see who's actually in front of him, because there's the Apollo, and you see a figure, and you see two more figures, and they're not identified. It's not easily identified that they're skulls right then and there. Like, you have to be close because they have a patch that you would notice, but it's clearly that somebody is harassing somebody else.
So, harassing somebody else in a ski mask.
Well, you don't see that he's wearing a ski mask so much as he's got a jacket and a hood.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, Johnny would walk up. He's like, hey!
It isn't any of your business. We're trying to make sure that see what's going on with this guy. Hey, take your jacket off. And they finally, the hand just kind of, lands on your shoulder.
He looks distinctly in pain when that happens.
Okay.
So, when they see Johnny, do they recognize Johnny?
No, because they're not really paying attention to you. They're just kind of calling off as they're focused on Herbert. And you're beginning to crest around the car, and that's when you see that they're wearing skull jackets.
And Johnny would come around the corner, and he's like, "Let him go."
And both of them sort of shoot you a look and go away, little man. Now, what's under this? And they continue to grab.
Okay, Johnny is running up to the first one and hitting him with all he's got.
Okay. So as that's happening, we're gonna cut back to Gio and Morgan kind of stepping out and realizing that something's going on across the street, and are beginning to engage when Morgan gets a text. And the text says, from Catherine Devereaux, identified the body without the hand. The body is Ari Pierce.
Who's Ari Pierce?
Ari Pierce.
Ari Pierce. Who's Ari Pierce?
Where's all my goddamn...
You're muted.
Me?
No, you're not.
never
I'm hearing you now.
I wasn't muted. I didn't touch anything.
Oh, okay. Were you talking?
No. I was mumbling more than anything.
Okay. Well, we couldn't hear the mumbling.
Was it?
That was all, I guess.
Okay. Ah, shit. Okay. Okay. And I was like, how's the court order? Question mark.
In progress.
Okay.
And we're going to cut back to Johnny making his run at the one guy as the other guy grabs at Herbert and just kind of grabs him on the shoulder. He's hurting him and reaches and pulls off the hood. What do we see?
As soon as the hood is off, if you have ever seen images of people with a skin condition called ichthyosis vulgaris, basically the dead skin cells don't slough off, and they just keep building up and building up and building up and forming what look like scales all over the thing. In addition to that is that melanin disease, vitiligo, where it's difficult to tell what his nationality would be, because part of him, in a legitimate pattern, part of him looks like he's got African American skin and part of him is white, and it's combined with the skin disorder. It's impossible to tell really what his nationality is or what his ethnicity is. But he is horrific. He is hideous. And just completely, just huge piles of dead skin that are that just refuse to drop off of him. And it looks like scales, but mismatched. It's not like there's a clear pattern of scales like a reptile would be. It's the pattern is completely disjointed, and it is very, very, very ugly.
And so as the guy kind of pulls off his hat, your thing, and he just kind of recoils and drops it. Johnny, roll your him with all you got.
Okay, here we go. Vulnerability, impressive, ultimate fighter, inhuman strength. Yeah, I'll just roll that. The 4. Because I'm not trying to use all my powers, but he is kind of pissed off.
Use as many as you think is necessary in this particular case.
No, because Johnny knows how to use restraint. When there would be times where he uses it a lot more, but
right.
At this moment in time, they're not paying attention to him, and he notices that, and he knows that as soon as he punches them, they're going to be fucking, the One Punch Man music's going to start playing, and hit him with all you got. Are you kidding me?
I can't believe you got a crit failure there.
You rolled 2 1s. That's so shitty.
That is really, really bad. Okay, so as you're kind of running, you mistakenly step in the wrong space on the sidewalk, as there is a little bit of a shift in the sidewalk, sort of like concrete blocks. As a result of the earthquake, and you begin to trip and fall, and you tumble, and you begin to roll, and you roll into them, and also knock. You kind of just tumble into both of them, and also knock Herbert back into the Uber that's kind of, or sorry, the Apollo that's kind of waiting there, and kind of it kind of hit. He gets hit a little bit too as he hits his head back, and he looks incredibly, in incredible pain. And at that point, Gio and Morrigan kind of step around the car, going to find out what's going on with Johnny, and they see Herbert.
Okay. Is everybody okay here? What's going on?
Well, where Herbert hit against the car, the back of his head has basically cracked, and blood is starting to pour down under his coat, and he is reaching for his ski mask and his sunglasses on the ground and trying to get them back.
I'll pick it up for him.
Shit, you're right. Can I help in any way? Are these guys still coming at him also?
No, because Johnny had just tumbled. He just basically tripped and fall and sort of tumbled into them, and they're hurt. But Johnny is just continuing to sort of just tumble and kind of settle.
Okay.
Johnny, are you all right?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just help him.
Both guys are knocked out.
Oh. Oh no, I'm saying help him.
No, I know.
Um.
Are you all right, sir?
Yes.
And he goes to open the door to the car and climb back in. And just pulling the collar up and putting the hood back up.
Why were those men harassing? Hold on now.
Do you want us to call 911 or something?
No.
As he's doing this, I'm going to attempt to see through the mist and
Okay.
try and understand if he is in fact a rift, and like what he kind of is in reality.
Okay. And so, what power attacks do you think apply here?
See through the mist, reveal hidden methods. That is probably it. Maybe people trust me if I'm trying to get him to just kind of like stay and like distract him for a moment so that I can actually get a better look at him. And if that's the case, then maybe good listener as well.
Okay. Go ahead and roll it.
What kind of role is this? Investigate, I guess.
I would assume so, given that you're trying to see through the mist and see him specifically.
Yep. I'm also going to take a weakness tag of we're all frauds.
Okay.
Because I think that applies here.
Okay.
Great success.
All right. So, what are your 3 questions? Or what is your first question?
What does his true form look like?
Ooh, I'm not sure we want to reveal that just yet. So I'm gonna actually suggest that if if Herbert answers this question, he'd be as vague as possible, but dropping a really solid hint.
Mm-hmm.
Because the mist is now operating as expected, so it's actively fighting on you, right?
Yeah.
And his ultimate mythos, his ultimate, essentially the thing that he represents. I kind of want to give him that opportunity to kind of reveal it.
I agree. I like the idea of it kind of remaining vague to an extent. I just kind of want to get a better idea of it.
It is very hard to tell. It's hard to get a lock on exactly what it is. It's like it's not settled on anything particular.
I thought it was Pigpen.
There are very clearly in any view, any flash that you happen to get, very, very perfect white, strong teeth. Sometimes there's a normal human smile. Sometimes it's something not human. Sometimes they're pointed. Sometimes they're flat but they are always perfect. And sometimes the hand is, you'll see a perfectly normal, healthy human hand, and almost like watching in fast forward, you start seeing the accumulation of the dead skin cells, and as it just slowly converts into what you saw moments ago. There are always it's like, or seeing an animal at a distance at night, the glowing of the eyes of the light reflecting back at you. There's that. But it's very hard. It's usually very, very dark, and it's very hard to get an idea of exactly what it is you're looking at.
Okay. I think my next kind of question in seeing through the mist is more of a not so much like a physical trying to get a grasp on what he is, but more of like a mental, like trying to get a grasp of drives or like
Motivation.
Yeah, motivation. Even if it's something as vague as good or evil, or like a more, I don't know, a more vague motivation that he might have.
This would actually be, it's a lot easier to be more specific in this case.
Mm-hmm.
You see a very nice home with some statues in the front yard. The art, the sculptures they're okay, but they're not great. But if you look within the house, there are like almost like mobiles of birds impeccably sculpted out of stone and clay. There's a bunch of stuff around as well, but every now and again you will see something that is truly stunning, and sometimes it's whole and complete. Sometimes they're like Greek and Roman statues where the arm is broken off, but you can't tell if it was made that way or if it was made in its completion and then broken later on. But most of the statues and sculpture are very meh.
Mm-hmm.
And if you kind of try to look in a little closer to one of the really, really good ones, all you get is just this primal sense of something lashing out at you that doesn't really have a sense of language, but it is very territorial and don't fucking touch it, it's mine. And it's just this burst at you of stay the fuck away from it, it's mine.
Nice.
And I think you've got one more, right?
Yeah. I don't know how much I want to try and learn right now, or I think that pretty much covers everything. I don't know. Do you guys have any other ideas? I guess.
Who are you?
Yeah. The other thing is just like I guess it's no longer like a matter of like seeing through the mist. I just kind of want to know, like, ask you your name. If I don't know if that falls under the jurisdiction of this same role, though.
Probably not.
Yeah.
but what I can give you is this: when you ask that, he kind of looks towards the Apollo driver, and basically just says, "We'll come back later," and takes a glance past you at the shop you're standing right in front of, and he just closes the door, and the Apollo driver drives on.
Right. That was a weird.
Did any of you touch him while he was? I mean, Johnny, you did when you bumped into him.
Yeah.
Okay. Gio, did you?
Is something happen?
Yes.
I think that when I was asking if you wanted help, I was like looking at like the wound where you were bleeding on your neck and like possibly trying to like apply pressure or like bring your hood on to like to like cover up the blood or something.
So what little bit of blood may have gotten on your fingers as the car is driving away gradually turns gray, almost like a powdered clay, and just drops off your fingers.
What's on me? Because I bumped into you.
You bumped into me, but he wasn't bleeding. I mean, you might have, like some dust that puffed out of his sleeves or whatever. But it looks like you've just got dust on you, which could just as easily have been from the crack in the cement when you dropped.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it does look exactly the same as what Gio has on his fingers, who didn't.
Ah. He's like looking around at like the surrounding area to look, like see if there's like a buildup of dust, because that's quite a bit of dust.
Well, so as you're looking around, you see another group of skulls beginning to walk down the street, heading your direction. And they stop for a second when they see two of their guys on the ground. And they start yelling and running towards you.
Before they can start yelling, as soon as I notice them, I'm picking up both of their people and I'm walking over to them, and I look pissed off. I'm like walking over like this.
Guns are being pulled.
That's fine. I'm standing, like, if they're pulling guns, I'm like walking over the other way, away from Geo and Morrigan, and I'm just walking up to them.
Gunshots start firing.
Okay.
And that's where we're going to end it.
Great. Johnny's dead.
Nah, it's gonna take more than a few bullets to stop Johnny.
Yeah, it's going to take more than a few bullets to kind of break in.
Lightning bullets.
Probably supercharged lightning bullets, then yes.
I mean, the skulls might have special bullets. Who knows? It's like that gun from Supernatural kills anything.
Yeah.
What show is that?
Is it the Supernatural gun?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
This one random gang member is like, "Oh, I have the Colt," and you're like, "I'm Dean Winchester," and you're like, "Oh, okay."
Which one you're like? I'm Constantine. No.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. We are at an end, so let's go around and get some final thoughts from everyone before we wrap things up for the night. And this time, starting in overlay order, let's go to Johnny.
Which Johnny?
Johnny.
That one.
Oh, okay.
No, wait. Yeah, the one who's
The one who's
Johnny.
above me is both of
The
them.
player or the person?
Let's go player.
Okay.
Oh, hi, I'm
McLoken.
Johnny. Hello, my name's McLoken. You might recognize me from such shows as Chosen, the one I DM here on Twitch, or you might recognize me from this show because you're watching it currently, or you might recognize me from my Pyre brand character, who I'm tired and I can't remember his name right now, but he's just fucking
Archeo.
Archeo.
There you go.
Archeo's so fun to play. That's on Fridays on Metamancer channel. Saturdays, I don't do shit. Sundays, I play Call of Cthulhu, where I have a character who's about to go insane, and I have to remember I should probably roll a new character at some point in time before we play our next game.
Yes.
Yeah.
You would say that every single time.
We didn't actually.
Every
have an
single
episode
time you
last-
say-
last
That's
2
the
weeks.
only reason why he is still alive.
Yep.
I think he has
Yeah.
4 sanity left. As soon as he he farts and he gets scared. I rolled a 4. Well, then my character's just babbling in the fucking corner, and they had to put him away. And he's getting chased by hounds of Tindalis, and it's fun. And then Mondays, I'm not doing anything yet. Tuesdays, it was announced today that I'll be playing the Burning of the World Tree, I believe it's called. I'm gonna verify that. That's gonna be on Encounter Roleplay. I've made a fantastic character. I'm super excited to have that revealed because I have a voice picked out for that character. I'm super pumped. And I kind of also made a it's a D&D 5e campaign in a Midgard campaign from the Kobold Press people. So the World Tree Burns, that's what it's called. So I'm excited to announce that game. I'll be playing with Mattia Zimmer, Tall Squall, Encounter Josh, and Encounter Will. And Dan Dillon, the guy who created Midgard, is going to be DMing it. So
Nice.
that's super awesome. So yeah, that's my new announcement. Season 2 of Chosen, that's going to begin on May 23rd. Because people have to, are moving houses, and we're taking time off in between season 1 and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
Nice. Thank you, Loke, and everyone go follow him in the various places where you can follow him. Meta, how about you? What did you think, and who are you and stuff?
Oh, hi guys. Great opening to season 2, I think. I'm very curious about Herbert and what his deal is and how we're supposed to convince him, who's obviously a very grumpy man, to do anything with us. So, I'll be curious to see how that plays out. Also, bullets flying. Maybe Morrigan can take out some of her anger. It's gonna be a good time next week. It's gonna be a good time. And you guys can find me on my channel on Fridays, sometimes Saturdays and Sundays. Fridays I do the Pyre brand where I play a Mortat assassin named Sybil, and she is a glass cannon, amazing awesomeness. And then on Sundays I am the GM for the Call of Cthulhu Reveries campaign. We're on season 2, about to be on episode 11. So lots to catch up on. So if you need something to listen to in the background, hit up my YouTube channel. And then I'm on nothing on Monday right now. On Tuesday, I'm on Myth Dawn with Unmade Gaming. And on Wednesday, got nothing. But Thursday, I got 2 shows. One that I GM for, which is also a City of Mist campaign of my own on the Encounter Roleplay channel. And then I get to do more City of Mist later that day. It's like the best Thursday ever.
Nice.
Because I love City of Mist. And I can't get enough of it. And you'll hear more about that soon. Yeah, so hit me up on the Twitters at the Metamancer.
Absolutely, go follow Meta, and also huge shout out to Meta. Thank you for running the stream today. For those of you who weren't aware, I've been like in between apartments kind of, and I don't have internet, so Meta is running this stream right now on my channel. So mega thanks, you're absolutely amazing.
Happy to help. Because we want to play games. So we're like, Speedy, we don't care where you have to go. Go to freaking Starbucks. We doing this.
Yeah, this is my school's library behind me. I have a private room right now. And hopefully, if I can get it to work out, I might be able to do some more streams over the next few days from the library using like a library computer. If I can get softwares on them.
Yeah.
We'll see. I tested it out the other day and it was but we'll see. I'll probably give it another shot tomorrow. But anyways, Trendane, tell us thoughts.
Very much enjoyed this. I'm really glad that Herbert didn't have to roll anything, because as I was telling these folks, I basically have a description of him and bullet points about different things about him, but I haven't converted them into, playbooks or anything. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So at some point I'm going to have to meet up with Johnny, the DM, not Johnny the player, or character rather, to figure out how best to put this thing together, because some of it's weird. Big surprise that I would come up with anything weird. Where else can you find me aside from here on Thursdays? Let's see, on next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, we've got a 12-hour thank you stream for all the people who were kind enough to donate money for me to be able to go up to Seattle for the BattleTech launch event. That was amazing. And then the week after that, back here for City of Mist on Thursday, and then starting on Friday the 25th, which is Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day weekend. Arvin Eleron is having ArvCon, and I'll be doing a Adventures in Middle-earth campaign on Friday morning. Yes, Friday morning. And then on Sunday evening, we'll be doing the big... it starts on Sunday morning, because we're basically, come hell or high water, we are finishing the Rise of Tiamat. So it is going to be a marathon D&D campaign to finish that module out. And it's going to be insane. And lots of fun. And
Nice.
Happy birthday to Marisha Ray.
I'm sure she's watching. She'll hear.
No, she's playing D&D right now over on...
Listen, but that's what she has on in the background. Anytime you notice her like not paying attention or like asking a question that she should have known the answer to because she should have been listening, that's what she's doing, is watching this show, right?
There's a question. So Marisha, happy birthday.
Yes.
Now you can ask her how many people told her happy birthday on the stream. And if she answers incorrectly, then you can give her the 5th degree.
Sure.
I'm so confused.
Good.
All right, Johnny, MC Johnny, tell us your thoughts and everything.
My name's MC Johnny, and I'm here to stay. Rapping in a certain way.
Why do you sound
all
like
right,
a terrible
thank you. That's the
80s
end of the
white
stream.
guy trying to do an 80s white rap from the 80s?
I could be a rapping grandma.
Could be 80s night. You don't know.
No, that was last night over on Not So or on Unmade Gaming's game. But anyway,
It's the same day, isn't it?
no, technically, well, so actually it's Saturday morning Saturday morning for you guys. I thought we were not going to do this whole same day crap, guys.
Not this again. Not this
I
again.
don't know.
No.
Never mind.
Everybody wants to know what day is it? Why? What time is it? It's just
Well,
like
it's
Jesus
For
Christ.
the immersion,
Time
Johnny.
is
It's
Time
for
is
the
relative
immersion.
to us, and time is relative to them. Their Saturday could be our Thursday.
So continue, Johnny, please.
I'm trying to figure out the logic there. And I'm gonna
There
stop
is
because
no
it's breaking my
logic, only
brain.
Zool. Please,
Good.
move on.
Watch more Doctor Who; it makes sense.
Great start tonight, guys. Love the description and the things that we're getting from Herbert, and I love the reaction that each of the established characters have had to what was the events of the show this evening. One of the things that I wanted to introduce was a little bit more of a nuanced, sort of a stronger open based on everything that they had gone through, but at the same time really kind of struggled with their individual identities, and you guys did amazing tonight, so I think it was great. And yeah, Johnny, Video Store Cowboy, GM for 6 and 20 across these 3 channels. Tuesday night on my place or my channel, Wednesday night on Unnamed Gaming, Thursday night on Not So Speedruns here. And you can also find me on Arvin Elrond's channel tomorrow night for Esper Genesis. Yeah. And that's about it.
And your vid store cowboy on Twitter.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, thank you for keeping track of that track. Yeah, that is all that we have. Thank you guys so much for coming out here. This was an awesome opening to season 2. I'm super excited to see what happens next. Excited to have gotten the chance to go into a little bit more of Gio's backstory. Excited for everything going on still with that murder investigation. And excited to see more about Herbert, who I have an inkling of who his mythos might be, but I'm not sure yet. And I really want to figure it out. Yeah, so for those of you who aren't already, definitely also go follow me on Twitter over at NotSoSpeedRuns, and go follow 6 and 20 on Twitter as well. Because I don't have my bot running right now, typing all these things will be really slow, so I'm just not going to entirely do that, except I'm doing it right now, so I don't know why I'm saying that. But you can also catch up on all the previous episodes of this on my YouTube, which is right there. You can also follow 6 and 20 on YouTube for more things like Beyond the Mist and other awesome things. You can get a playlist of all the episodes from all the channels so you can watch them all. It's all super good. That is all that we have for tonight. I am going to say we're going to end this off with a raid, and we're going to pop over to a streamer by the name of Planet Popstar, who's currently playing some Binding of Isaac. For those of you who weren't aware, I've been running a charity campaign for St. Jude this month as part of a team called Good Vibes, and he's another person on that team, so he's raising money for charity right now. Absolutely go show him some love from us here and from the Good Vibes team. Thank you guys so much for coming out and watching. We will see you all next time. As always, don't forget to take it slow. Bye.